Right, double checking. We should all be live now. Hello and welcome to Inside Roleplay, where we talk and share our insights on roleplay. I have like a whole spiel for it, but I usually have it somewhere in the description, which I didn't copy paste right now. There we go. The definition of inside roleplay, it's a noun. It's expert knowledge about roleplay. Like, he taught New York roleplay fans a good deal of inside roleplay. Or it's used as an adjective, like for esoteric and highly technical roleplay knowledge. Yawn-inducing inside roleplay coverage of the RPG industry. That's the definition of the show. Hello, everybody.
I'm here to provide the yawn-inducing part.
Exactly. Introduce yourselves.
I'm Conway. I'm on the RPG Discord, and that's about it.
I'll be providing the breakfast on Pancake. I'm also on the RPG Discord.
Do you have any credentials why people should listen to you? Except, of course, you've joined my illustrious podcast, which now that it has more than 3 episodes, I think it survives the 99% podcast death. I think the cutoff is 6 episodes of whether or not the podcast is a success or a complete failure.
Well, you see, you should respect me when I speak because I have the highly coveted sage role. Means
Ooh.
on the Discord. So,
the sage, bow to him.
I've been role playing. I've been role playing for a bit now in the 4D style, and I just think that for some reason when I talk about it, people seem to enjoy it. Then you invited me for this, and I think it's gonna be great.
No one should ever listen to me, unless they want to go down the deep rabbit hole of playing in character and turning mad. But I've worked with a lot of people new to the style. I've done a lot of sessions with people who have never played in the style before, and I just love talking about it, and I was invited, so here I am.
All right. Now I'm hearing some people say Discord is a bit quiet, so I'm turning some knobs real quick. But
people say they can't hear me.
Yeah. So we got Conway, we got Pancake. If you guys couldn't hear that, I don't know, go back, turn it up, the knobs. But tell me if it's fixed now, right? I changed some settings, so it should be fine now.
You guys should tell me, Zonalar, if you can hear me now or not.
Good. Yeah, you sound beautiful. I saw it on my audio mix as well. You guys were background music levels of audio level while I was blasting my voice. Because the background
you nearly got away with it, Zonalar.
I can't believe it. I actually have enough people to give me feedback live during the stream. Beautiful.
Life is good, yeah.
All right.
So one of the things that I really liked about the idea we had, Zonalar, of tackling questions from the Discord, is that it's going to be very reactive, right? Because Uriah and some of the other moderators, they asked for a series of frequently asked questions to be added there. And I think it is much better to just tackle them one at a time. And we have a lot of very good questions from a lot of different people in the Discord. So I think it's going to be great to go over these questions and see what we can develop from there.
Yeah, real genuine questions from curious people rather than questions we're trying to think up ourselves.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's a big problem of I'm thinking of, what could be something that people want an answer to. But my perspective is of somebody who's quite deep into roleplay itself and has a specific taste. While I assume most people, they want a classic beers and pretzels RPG game and then realize, what if I roleplayed more? And suddenly you run into all of these problems, like a deluge of problems of, can I even convert my friends? Should I find 40 role players to roleplay with? like what communities are out there that I could ask to join. We had one guy show up a couple days ago, and this is a side note. I don't think it was a question, but not an official one. He asked, where are RPG communities where he could find where he could find players to play with, because he literally doesn't have anybody. And I read that question and I thought, just ask in the Get Weather channel, like start a campaign on our Discord, because I don't trust any other community out there to have any quality.
True, yeah. That is one aspect of it. I think I saw his question, and you know what my answer was? Dude, you can just ask me, and I'll run whatever game you want to play. You know?
Yes, you did.
Because the people in the community are just we're very passionate about role playing games, right?
Yes.
Now, it is a little bit. I wouldn't say it's a restricted community, but it is one that has a higher standard to its members as well, right? So recently, we had a purge where people that have not been active there have been and are not vetted have been removed, right? So it shows you that the people you find there will be very passionate, and we're very likely to just want to run you something. I mean, Pancake is here. Pancake is like the guy that vetted the most people, I believe now.
I make it my goal. I remember joining, and all I wanted to do was play. And right when I got in, the first thing I did was ask, "Can I play in a game? I want to play in a game." And it took forever to find someone who could make the time. So I'm always just like, "Oh, you're new and you want to see what 4D is about? Yeah, I'll run a game for you."
See, Pancake is a go-getter. He saw a problem and he just fixed it, because now it's fixed.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's the thing that I used to say: if you want to get in a game, ask if you can join. Like, you have to go out there and look if they have room for you. Because usually, if you are the new guy, people are not gonna like look around and be like, who has never said anything on the Discord? Let me ask him to join my group. Because there's nothing to guarantee that you have that you will be a good player, or that you're like nice to hang around with, or that you will even respond. You know, it always takes a bit of energy to reach out to people and get them involved. So you can remove a lot of extra steps just to like answer this question. Oh, how do I reach out? Where can I reach out? If you just reach out and ask around, people will answer. And it's a good way to, be proactive, will be positively received most of the time.
It's probably question 0 for the frequently asked questions. How can I try 4D? Just hop in and ask to play. And the thing is, this is what we call a training session. You don't even need to be good.
Yeah.
Like, you should try to understand a little bit of 4D before coming in. But if you're bad, then that's the point of a training session. Okay, I failed a little bit of my training, but you get to try again. And, there's no strings attached to it.
Yeah, and it's not like a serious thing either. Like, training sessions are always fun. That's why I like doing them. It's like we're still role playing,
Yes.
Indeed. So it's question 0?
Yeah, we got a comment here by Mothership Down. And I'm not sure who Mothership Down is, so hello, welcome. Unless you are Andrew Warden with a different YouTube account. Since he's the resident Mothership expert that I know about. Can I give an observation? In 40 roleplay streams, people talk slowly at the natural speed of thinking and working things out. This is much easier to listen to than the usual pro streams.
Well, I think I would have to agree. We're actually, when you are participating in a 4D game, I think that the slowest, like the weakest link that will slow down the game, it really is like the speed of thought, which is why we focus so much on things like being able to understand the system before you get into the game, right?
Yes.
So you're dedicating all of your brain power to running the game in your own mind. This is why people often get tired really quickly in 4D play. It's like 2 hours? No, I'm already feeling a bit woozy,
Yeah, 2 hours is...
Go ahead.
Oh, I made a hand gesture, and that was my thing I had to say.
I wonder, in a 2D game, I feel like in a 2D game, the reason why people tend to be more manic is because they're letting energy out, because most of the time they're idling, right? In a 2D game, like you're sitting, there's like 20 minutes for your next turn. It's like you do like your excited thing, I get to do something. Then, okay, gotta die down for another 20 minutes.
Yeah, you got to wait so long it builds up, and then you got to go crazy when it's finally your turn.
Yeah, you need to do 10 actions in a row and do them all before the game master tries to interrupt you. Otherwise, you won't get a chance for another 30 minutes until it's your turn again.
If I narrate everything for the next 5 minutes, the GM won't re-narrate my actions.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, thoughts keep coming into my mind, but of like what to say. But we have a list. We have a list of questions, so we can go through them. One question was, I'd love to see a video breakdown expanding on the 4D approach to narrating scenes.
Narrating scenes. Okay, that's an interesting question to start us off with.
Now, this is gonna be a video breakdown. There you go, guys. Maybe he wants us to like review somebody else doing it and break that down. But that can be a different video. And I think we do have examples of that. It's something I more often do with like crimes against roleplay as to why a roleplay scene is bad. Or like what killed John Roleplay. Where I break down all of the ways that people break character and like commit small crimes that are getting in the way of good roleplay.
I think that, yeah, like you said, Zolar, this is a broad question, right? So I think the answer can be quite broad as well, because this is a massive topic. But there are a few things that you can follow that will help you a lot when it comes to narrating a scene, right? We could have several principles here, right?
I think the most straightforward and probably the least helpful answer would be to just, if you picture the scene in your mind, then just describe what you see, right? As though you're trying to, as though you're guiding a blind person through the environment. You have to describe everything that they're going to interact with in real time almost, right? And so if you kind of think about it that way, you have to describe things quickly and efficiently, but understandably.
I think real time is the big term there, Pancake, because a lot of different advice you can find to narrate things in RPGs do not fully apply to 4D, in my opinion. You get the usual thing like, oh, you should describe the 5 senses. But if you describe the 5 senses, okay, yeah, you're in a room, the wood is starting to rot, you can smell it. The walls are soggy when you touch them. The wood is in patterns of planks. You know, like you're describing too much. And even to describe that, you must assume things like the touch. How do you describe touch? Like the players didn't even try to touch the wall, right?
Right.
So there's a few principles that if you follow, I think will make the scene a lot better. So my advice for you to narrate a scene, the first thing is that it should be very brief but punchy, right? So you don't want to over describe things. You want it to be like a short turn. It's your GM's turn to describe, you know? It's a short turn, right? And it should be rather punchy. You should evoke an image in very few words, which might sound difficult. But when you take into account the next principle, which is the principle of use what the players know, right? You don't need to describe, oh, it's an L-shaped tavern of about 30 feet by 30 feet by 30 feet, 2 rectangles. There are tables in each corner. No, you shouldn't say that. Just say it's a medieval tavern and a smell of pork soup diffuses through it. That's it. You can already imagine a medieval tavern in your head. You don't need to qualify it. And just a little extra detail, like, oh, there's like pork soup cooking right now. Like you can already imagine, like, probably people are coming to eat it. Like they're cooking for a bunch of people. You can already imagine the guys coming over with their little like wooden bowls over to get some soup. So be brief and punchy and use things that the players already know from the game from your session 0. If the players know that they're going to be playing an action movie and you describe a docks in an action movie sort of context, they can already picture like a docks at night with the sea spray shooting upwards. You can already imagine it right now in your head, you know? That's all it takes. That's a very brief and punchy. And the best advice that I've seen given about this is watch a movie and try to describe it back, right? Go like to The Predator, like watch one of those jungle scenes, right? crickets chirp all around you, and vines cover your vision with a massive tree canopy shadowing the forest floor. That's it. That already paints such a vivid picture in your mind because you already have the context, and you're being gifted a very brief description for you to picture in your head. I think that's the best advice I can give you.
Yeah. As a player too, you only have to describe like what you're interacting with. When you enter a scene, and describing only what other people can see as well. Like you'll see it all the time as people will describe their internal monologue of their character. But when you keep it to what other people see, you take I sit pondering about my father's betrayal. My father's betrayal when I was young. Or in 4D, you keep it to I sit and stare into the distance with my hand on my chin,
And that's so
considering
much more
something.
powerful.
Yeah.
Because the next player can then ask, what's up with you, man? You've been adventuring with this guy for a while,
If anything, by not saying what is literally on your mind, but describing things we can perceive that your character's thinking, that will awaken your own imagination of what could be happening. And that gets you drawn into the game and gets you interested because it brings up mysteries, it brings up questions. And if you want answers, you have to interact with him or interact with the world.
Sometimes I've seen advice for 2D games that's like, okay, guys, you get the roleplay now. That's something that the GM should say according to some 2D advice. Like, okay, guys, can you sit down and roleplay for a bit? So
Yeah.
hollow. It feels like, it's time to do the roleplay section. The union
Night is
mandated
settling
roleplay section.
in. Are you guys setting up a camp? Role played it out for me.
I've seen that so much, man.
We'll play it out. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But if you just externalize what your character is thinking, right? Like you're not describing how he's thinking about his dead father. He's just like sitting down, sort of like lowering himself onto his sword and looking over at like a looming dying battlefield and just thinking, that will naturally, if you're a human, another human will probably naturally come and talk to you about it because they can see that as like a moment for you. There's a lot of power in that, in the organic creation of roleplay scenes.
It also
it
really rewards paying attention at your table, which will help you with helping the other players at your table to like be more engaged with your game and not getting drawn to their mobile phone or checking some video game on the side if you're playing online on Discord without cameras.
It's such a classic problem too that's already recognized. It's like, oh, this is the campfire scene where we're all going to describe our backstories.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, well, that could be a lot more interesting if you actually engage with each other. Like we're all here at the table and pulling descriptions out of other players by asking them questions in character can be very, very compelling.
All right, so I wrote down an answer for our descriptions here. You tell me if you want to add anything or change anything. The answer to the question: keep your narration brief and punchy. Reinforce the setting and theme the players know from session 0 with your description.
Very much so, yeah. And you should add Pancake's idea as well of only what the other observers would see, right? Only externalize what is visible is a good way to word it.
And just focus on the most important things, right? Focus on what's most important for your first description, and then everything else can be added in later turns, right? We don't have to do everything in one turn.
I like that because it is the opposite of what you usually hear in your usual 2D advice.
Just the 5 senses is the overload of describe everything, and then the players have to figure out, okay, but which part is important?
Yeah.
And you add like this
But
random wine bottle on the table, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, she's a drunk. She must be like absolute wreck." It's like, what if somebody enjoys a bottle of wine? Like, there was nothing special about that wine bottle, but if it's being mentioned, like as a random detail, players can get hung up with minor details that didn't really had much meaning in the first place.
it's to the point that it became a meme, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
We do have a few questions in the chat. It might be good to focus on those since we can get immediate feedback from people there.
All right. We got some of it. Many people are happy with watching 4D games instead of watching other games because of the slower pace. Any questions that you see right now? Because I'm reading through them. Got Elf Hunter
Plainsman.
here that says start with the focal point, then add details as needed. And I agree with what he says in parentheses, like maybe add details every round or so. That's a thing I like personally. A broad description, and every player gets to react first before I describe more of what's in the scene.
And what's great about that is the player's actions tell you what needs described. So I don't need to prep a whole bunch of things beforehand because the players are telling me what they want to know by their actions when they interact with the world. They're saying, I want to know more about this thing when I go to touch it.
And that's so cool because that's how it works in real life. Sometimes it would just be like in the shower thinking about a thing that happened to you, and then you realize something that you hadn't realized when you were there, you know? Like someone said something and then you recognize what was going on in their head when you're in the shower later on. That adds a certain richness to your role-playing game, in my opinion. Zolar, check Discord, because I did Plainsman added a question, maybe you couldn't see it, so I reposted it on the Discord.
I see it, yeah. Plainsman asks a question that's like, that he got from a Choppy Funster video. How do you describe without a video game highlighting? That's yellow painting things. For people who don't know, somehow it became a video game industry standard to put yellow paint on ledges or a fucking tarp over something to signal to the player, oh, this is the place where you can pull up. Or, you know, this is
the
a
Yellow
ledge.
Bricks Road, right?
Yeah. This is where you can climb along the wall. And if it's not yellow, then... And it's a way to like signal to the player without breaking the world too much. But now that it's so ubiquitous in AAA video games, it becomes obvious again, right? You have this pendulum swing of, well, now it's everywhere and I cannot unsee it.
Can I just say, the yellow paint thing is so lazy? Because you know a game that did this really well and never used yellow paint? Half-Life 2. If you ever played Half-Life 2, you don't get lost. The lighting and just the whole way the scene is structured, it is very obvious that you're supposed to keep going, but you never see any yellow paint. Like that game is so good, right? But
because it's also the framing, right, of the environment. The focal points are important places, and that's the thing. And it's true to life as well. There's always something that's most obvious that you're probably going to see first. Right.
Yeah. How often do you go to the library and you have no idea how to get in? Right. Like the design of the structure shows you where the door is for you to get into the library.
Yeah.
But this is an interesting question. So the Half-Life comment was mostly in the context of video games. Let's go to. Sorry for getting out of track. I
have an immediate thought on this because for 4D role playing we don't have a campaign set that we will play through. So I don't worry about whether or not they find the MacGuffin or the plot-relevant item, which might be like the heart of some demigod, you know, that is lost in the forest for you to retrieve. The players don't need to know about the heart because I don't worry about them following my campaign.
And there is no interactable objects, right? There's just objects. Because the whole world is interaction.
We are not constrained by the video game. We don't have to write source code. We don't have to make art We don't need to create character sheets for everybody. We
And
can
so
just invent them
Exactly.
with our mind.
What
so
you said there is right, Zolar. The yellow paint is a signal to the player, and a signal means that you're trying to get information to the player, and the information is what you need to do. It is a way to railroad, in my opinion, right? Like you're
Yeah.
saying, okay, this is the thing that you interact with. Like you might have a
Yes.
character, and you might have the illusion that you can do whatever you want with the character. But here's the thing: I really want you to interact with. And sometimes you get GMs that are like, oh, my players are just wasting time. Why are they not, hurrying to do the encounters I was planning? Well, the players are just like talking in a tavern because that's what they would do. That's the role play, right?
Mhm.
So I think that this whole like yellow paint thing is backwards. There shouldn't be anything that the players should interact with as per the design of the game. That it
Yeah.
requires is signaling, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think I'm kind of interpreting Plainsman's question is how do we describe a scene without accidentally painting things yellow in our players' minds, right? And I think that has to do too with like setting the game up beforehand, because I could totally see that happen where you're just describing a scene how you see it, and then the players think, "Oh, that must be important. I have to interact with that," right? And I
Oh yeah,
think
absolutely.
it comes down to establishing beforehand, like this is the kind of game we're playing. There is no interactable objects. There's just the world, and you have full agency. And if I describe something, it's just because that's how I'm picturing it.
If you want to guide your players in a direction, I think you can, because that's the kind of tool. As a game master, you have an idea where you want to go, because that's where you know the factions, where you know some characters, where you did some prep. And then you have directions where you have nothing prepared. If the players go there, you're lost. But as a good game master, you're more than willing to let go of the 20 hours you put in before the session started. Like, nobody asked for you to like spend all of this time into the campaign. It needs to come from like a place of passion, of you enjoying the process of prepping, if that's a thing you want to do. Otherwise, stop doing it. And if you want to
This
guide your
is
players, that it can be the first thing you describe if you want in the scene. But fall back to what we described before, of the like low resolution of the scene, the broad strokes of the painting, what is most obvious that's around. Not where do you want the players to go.
this is why after reviewing all of the information, I've decided to become even more extremist when it comes to 4D. Because
Yes.
a lot of times people are like, well, you should still prep, right? I'm gonna say no, because if you prep, you need to do the mental work of letting go of your prep. If you prep
Yes.
nothing, you're ready for everything, right?
You actually have to be ready to let go of the prep if you prep, which is half of the
And so,
work.
yeah, and that is work, yeah. Because it feels like, oh man, it'd been so cool if we hit that scene, but it just didn't happen, The best laid plans of
Yeah,
mice and men.
yeah. You're see, I decided this a long time ago. I hated prep, and so I was like, screw it, I don't need it anymore.
Yeah,
I'm a bit of an extremist myself in that I think the players' descriptions of the world are just as valid as the GM's. And so that's another thing is when you can trust your players enough, your descriptions, your narrations do not need to be they do not need to be very in depth because the players have just as much control. They're kind of carrying the load with you
Yes.
of describing the scene. And so when you spread that load around everybody, I as the GM describe a medieval tavern with a elderly man smoking a pipe at the fireplace, and then one of the players goes over and interacts with the barmaid, and then another player goes and does their own thing, and then by the time we come back around to the GM, the the whole tavern has been described because everybody did a bit of describing of the location.
exactly. And that is why we love co-creation in 4D. If everyone does their little short turn, just a short punchy description, eventually the whole scene will be painted because everyone is anchoring, everyone is doing things in the world.
Mhm.
All right, we got a follow-up question, and after that, I want to return to our list. From Daryl Eretz over here. Are there tricks to describe the scene that deters or like doesn't prompt out-of-character questions from the players? I don't think like if the players will always have questions after you describe something because they want to know more. So like how do you deter out-of-character questions? The way I do it is I tell them it's illegal. You don't get to. I will not answer your
Zero
questions
out of
out of
character
character.
questions.
Yes.
I think the best trick is co-creation. If I describe it is a tavern, the smell of smoked meat running through it, and a player asks me, let's say that in a hypothetical where they don't know that they're not supposed to talk out of character, right? They go ahead and they ask me, well, is there a table for me to sit at? I say, okay, why don't you answer that, right? Why don't you co-create that? Co-creation will take you through most of what of these out of character questions that you need.
So
with the very, very slight exception of very important things, right? Like you shouldn't co-create like the answer to a problem in the game. But that's all good faith, right? So I think that the trick is a good session 0, where you go over that out of character questions are not allowed, and you can also just paint more of the scene through co-creation. That would be my trick.
I think that's a really great point, Conway, about co-creation. And I can tell you from experience, because there's a group of players I play with who are not 4D. They do not stay in character the whole time. But I did institute co-creation. I was like, hey guys, I trust you guys. I'm gonna allow you to add things to the scene whenever you want. And ever since then, they play more in character than they ever did before, because they know that they can just walk in and say, interact with things without asking my permission.
Did it feel like, and you tell me, maybe they didn't tell you, like does it, I would assume it feels like you remove some fear in them of adding something into the world that is not their own character, because that's like in many games it's a taboo to do that.
Yes. Yeah, there was a period of like, he said I can do this, but I'm a little nervous because he's the GM and I'm just a player, But
right.
I think that's just that's habits taught by bad GMs over many years, right?
Hey, too much of the stick of players trying to be creative and then getting the stick like, no, you don't get to do that. It's not on your character sheet. All right.
I told you wouldn't have the time to do everything in Zonar. It takes time to go through these questions.
Yes, that's the fun part. For me, this is the fun part.
Yeah, really big fan of the back and forth with Chad as well.
Yeah,
I heard,
awesome.
This is the next question. I heard someone say you should avoid sentences like you see, you hear, you feel. Why?
Funny how that circles back to what we've been saying of only describe what the players can see, right?
Yes.
So this is what we call second person narration, where you're narrating things in second person. Like you see that, you hear that. And I have to fully agree with the sentiment that second person narration should be eradicated, fully eradicated. There should be 0 second person narration. And why have I arrived at such an extreme position? It is because second person narration, first off, it's a bit jarring to hear it. You, right? Assuming that you're playing with a group of 3 people. Yes. When you say the word you, like what does he mean exactly with this? Keep in mind,
who
in 4D,
does he mean? Like which person?
Yeah.
Is it the player or the character? I don't know. Who is the GM addressing?
Exactly right. So that is already a little bit weird. But you also consider the fact that second person narration is almost it is strange to hear, because it is a more sort of like intimate way to describe things, right? So you do this, you do that. That immediately gives you the idea that this is like a thought implanted into your mind. And we're big against that in the 4D sphere, right? We do not want things to be described that way. And also because there's a slippery slope. If you're telling your players, you see that, you hear that, the next occasional step that you might take is you walk to the door, right? Now you're moving the players. You want 0 moving the players here.
Yeah.
Or you look outside to see what noise just happened. And
or
it's like,
even redescribing the character. So the character says, I step forward and open the door. And even if all you do is say, as you open the door, right? Or so you open the door and, that sort of thing. Because although you're trying to just say exactly what they said again, there is always the chance that you misunderstood them and now you're making their character do a different action than what you had in your mind. And if you just eradicate saying you do this or you do that from your vocabulary, can completely solve that kind of problem as well.
The other way to do it is it's not too hard to describe what the players are doing, like to describe the consequences of what the players' characters are doing. So if the player describes himself walking up and opening the door, you describe as the door opens, which is a thing that is happening. You're not re-narrating what the character's doing. You describe what's like in the time frame of the scene in the world as this event's taking place. You describe the next thing that's occurring.
And it's also punchier.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Because let's say the player is trying to open the door, right? As you reach for the door and as you open it, on the other side, no, just cut all of that. Be brief, be punchy. On the other side of the door stands a man wielding a bloody knife. Suddenly that jumps at you, Like, you're not trying to add like this awkward connective tissue from one part to the other. Sometimes it's good to, usually we use movies as an analogy in 4D. I think this is a place where using a book might be a good analogy. Because in the book, you very rarely have these like awkward, connective tissue parts from one scene to the other, right? Character X opens a door, on the other side stands a murderer. That is like way punchier, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Now, this will be a bit weird for new GMs to the 4D style, but you have to remember that while we talk like in prose, we talk like about big, concepts here. In practice, you will say you will every now and then, you will use second person, and that's fine. It's something that you can think about after the game.
It's most of the time it's not a disaster. It's just it's a habit you fall into, right? And it's not a very good one.
Okay, so I'm writing this down real quick. And you tell me if you want to add anything to this answer to keep it for the Q&A. I wrote it down like this. The GM doesn't control the player's character. Instead of describing you see, you can describe there is. And let the player decide whether his character sees this. That is also like a big factor. It's much easier with feelings because GMs love to tell the players what the characters are feeling, which is total violation. You're not in the character's head, and only the player knows what his character is thinking. And even sometimes the player doesn't know. Like, he needs to figure it out. How would his character feel in certain situations? So he might need some time as well. So that's total violation. But stuff like you hear something, well, the character could have headphones on, or the character could have his eyes closed.
Yeah.
Or he's not touching the table. How would he know what the table feels like if he's not touching it?
That is such a good point, actually. Go ahead, Pancake.
Yeah, it's a great point. I always find myself rebelling against the GM whenever they tell me you see something, and then I describe my character being completely oblivious and distracted.
Yeah, actually, my character's having a gigantic yawn. Eyes closed, mouth wide open.
Yeah,
loud.
Oh, that is funny, but that is something that did actually happen in 4D. I remember we were playing Pathfinders and all. It was in Tyler's Pathfinder game. And we were being invaded by these aliens from the stars, and we just walk outside the mansion, the Mage's Tower, actually, I believe, my character was like looking up to the stars because he's terrified. There's like demons coming down from the stars, and that's when the pit trap hit. And Tyler asked us to roll, I would think, a reflex save to not fall in the pit trap. I didn't even know. I just decided my character fails. Like he's walking around like looking up to the stars. Of course, he's gonna fail to see a trap, you know.
Absolutely.
And having that freedom is really good.
Do you guys want to add anything to the answer itself or the Q&A part on the Discord?
I think it's pretty solid and concise.
Okay.
You might want to mention the slippery slope as well. That's something I've heard a lot of people talk about.
Okay, so
yeah, narrating what you see or hear also is a slippery slope that makes narration of other second-person things very much easier to accept. Because that is the next logical step, right? If you can just tell the player that they see something, like you see something, why can't you say that you turn your eyes to look at the window, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't you say you open the door, then you see this? Like it slowly starts like adding up until you're controlling your players again. And that's the anathema to 4D.
You see it all the time. You see it all the time.
Okay, so I describe it like this. Narrating you see/hear is a slippery slope that makes narrating the PC for the player easier to accept and remove their autonomy.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Sometimes I'm a bit worried because like people get they get their balls twisted every time you say autonomy or agency, and it's like they cross wires with what definitions mean. So I hope it's obvious enough. Autonomy meaning who's in control of the player character. It's the player. I control the whole world as a game master or as a table runner. And you have one guy to focus on. If I take control away from you, one guy, why are you even at my table? You should leave. You know, this is not a safe table for you to be at. I'm violating all the boundaries. Anything that stood out from you from YouTube comments to add or talk about?
Oh, let me have a look.
This? I see some of them are interesting. I like this comment from Rocketeer. Description should mostly be atmospheric then, which is something that most non-4D tables lack. Yes, I like that atmospheric descriptions of this is what's happening around you. This is what's happening in the scene. And the characters can decide what they pick up on.
Exactly.
Everybody gets to add to the picture, yes.
Oh, there's a new question from Daryl.
From Daryl? Other tricks to describing this? No, I asked this one.
No, sorry, Tiger Uppercut. I misspoke.
Okay.
How would you approach trying to turn a passive player into an aggressive role player? That's a good question.
I would say most players are passive because they've gotten the stick too many times. And I would say pretty much the only thing you can do is give them the freedom to be an aggressive player and hope that they take it.
I would take away their freedom until they take their freedom. I would give them the silent treatment. One of the things I like about 4D is the idea that the game is taking place in real time. And if you're just silent standing there, then you are just silent standing there. Mm-hmm. Give them the silent treatment. Like describe the scene, then go quiet as GM. If they don't say something for 30 seconds, stay silent.
This is something I've been thinking about with a more recent member who tried to 4D roleplay. He did a vetting session. It didn't go too well, so he did not get vetted. And there was a second session set up, which didn't happen for some reason. But it had me thinking of trying to help this person before they left the Discord, of how would I help them 4D roleplay better, because he tried, it kind of fell apart. It's like was almost there, but not fully. And I was really thinking of like what's stopping this person to get into it. And it really had me thinking to break down old habits that people build up from being a passive player or playing with overbearing GMs that will punish you for not describing your dungeon crawl in enough detail that they're like, oh, you triggered this trap, you triggered that trap. The orcs here you walk by because you didn't say that you're doing it sneakily. Like, oh, you're not fast enough, therefore the enemy chases you down. And now suddenly you have the players sitting at your table describing everything with like 5 adjectives of they do it fast, but they do it carefully, and they do it smartly, and they speak respectfully, and they have all of these qualifiers, but then don't describe what they are doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing of like, how do I make them into aggressive role players? Is I need to, let's see what the problems are and break them down first before I can show you, here's how you fully roleplay. Because the habits get in the way of specifically to get in the way because it's hard to accept something new if you have something that you fall back on as soon as it's a bit inconvenient.
Mm-hmm. That's good because
yeah,
I think you identify something good there, Zolar, because one of the problems with this question is that there are several factors that could make a player non-aggressive, right?
Yes.
They could be too cautious because they play with a GM that kills their character when they describe walking up to the door, when they're playing the door of the RPG. It could also be the fact that the player is just not really secure about what he's supposed to do. Like, I've had people ask me, well, back when I played 2D, I've had people ask me, I didn't understand what you wanted me to do.
Oh,
and
yes.
that mindset is so foreign to 2D, to 4D, right?
Yeah, that's a mindset problem. So then you need to figure out, okay, how do I help you to shift your mindset?
Yeah. The shallow answer I gave of giving the player the silent treatment was for someone that already understands 4D and just needs to learn how to swim, right? They need to be.
Yes.
That's basically like throwing them into the deep end and waiting, seeing if they figure out how to swim. If your player already understands 4D and is trying in good faith to achieve it, I do think that the silent treatment will help because then they will drive the game forward. They'll be forced to drive the game forward. But first, you should figure out what is really, what is keeping them from role playing aggressively.
Anything you want to add to this, Pancake, like changing a passive player or helping them to?
Yes, I do want to say I don't like the idea of saying that the responsibility of changing someone is on you. People will only change when they choose to change themselves. I would say just you can act with patience and you can leave the options available to someone, but you can never make someone an aggressive role player, right? But you can show them like, this is how you do it. I'll work with you. We can be patient together.
This is so obvious because if you ever watched the Shadowrun video, the aggression came from within. He didn't need any outside influence. It was all inside of him to to let out into the world. Show everyone is like, what are these videos? What are those advice channels? What is this actual play? Absolute trash. It's the willingness to change must come from within. Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
That's a great point, Pancake. You can take a horse to water, but you can make him drink it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And of course, when I look at those vetting sessions, I am looking at from the perspective, and like people can call this pompous or egotistic, but I just think this is the correct way to look at this. If somebody comes to me to get vetted, to learn for the roleplay, then I see myself as the master and him as the student, so that I can instruct him with what I know and give him all of my knowledge. But if his cup is full with old knowledge and old habits, that he needs to empty the cup first. And I'm pretty blatant and open about this with it's a 45-minute session or 20-minute session, how much time he has, 90 minutes most of the time. We play for 30 minutes, then we talk about it for 60 minutes. And to find out what he thought, what he felt, what got in the way, and what felt easy to build up on the strengths, and also so that he can gain awareness of his own strengths and weaknesses, and not just have like, oh yeah, we tried to roleplay, didn't go too well, I guess it isn't for me. I really want the player to walk away from the session as, okay, I think I know what I want to focus on. Not just like what I want to practice and get better on, but if it's even something that he cares about or doesn't care about. I think in the case of Heike, which is somebody who roleplayed with me for a wedding session, he came in with a lot of old habits of how he wants roleplay, and he tried to put them aside, but they constantly like invaded back into how he roleplayed, and we were able to talk about it. But because of the setting, he was allowed to be honest about it. He didn't need to hide the fact from me that like some people would try to be like, oh yeah, no, I'm totally into 40 roleplay. He was very open that he had a different approach that he thinks is better. But for the purpose of the session, he tried his best to adopt to 40 roleplay. And I appreciate
Sometimes all
that.
you need is time, right? Sometimes all you need is
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's not hard to role play. It's hard to not role play. Right. It's hard to give up the thing you've been doing for 20 years or who knows how long, right? And the lessons you've already learned and you've dedicated to your memory, but that are actually limiting you when it actually comes to role playing. It's really hard to undo those things. So yeah, I would say a good deal of patience when it comes to breaking habits is required.
Yeah. A lot of the times, even the folks in the 4D server disagree about things. But the one thing that everyone agrees on is that it's much easier to roleplay with people that never played a role-playing game before than someone that's been playing D&D for years. It's so much easier to roleplay with newer players for some reason. Because breaking habits is harder than making them.
Yeah.
There's a great point from Daryl here as well that adds on to a little bit of what I've said before of giving them the silent treatment and the idea that the game takes place in real time. Show the repercussions of inaction to your players. If your player is, again, trying to be an aggressive role player and they're just silent, show them that stuff is happening while they're just sitting there idling thinking things are happening in the world. The world doesn't pause for you to think. The world is always going on in real time. So if they're just standing there in the woods hunting something, describe like the animal's running away. Like the deer pauses and catches your smell and darts away far away from you, That shows them that the world is still happening, right? You need to think in real time.
Absolutely. That one is a classic for combat encounters because I remember there was a scene, I think it might have been a pancake training session where there were bandits involved and the shootout with the players. And the bandits stopped and saw the player characters surprised, and they pulled out their revolvers. But because this is the first time the bandits noticed, that's all Pancake did for the bandits. So now the players had a chance of like, okay, we better shoot them now or they're gonna shoot us first, So the fight was on. So he described the world like, okay, like the chances are closing in. If you have been spotted now that like I think somebody shot at this point or.
So the bad guys, we'll call them, saw one of the players group, and it was an NPC. The players had go do something, right? And so they only saw the one person, so the players had an opportunity to react. But I described them, pulling out their guns because they weren't sure, right? And so
right.
it was They were being the bad guys were being a bit cautious, unsure of what's going on.
And it's a good way of like, it's not just, this is not a repercussion of inaction, but a repercussion of action of you are making a move. The NPCs are noticing it and are getting alarmed of what's going on. So if you keep your turns short, it allows the players and also the NPCs the back and forth of having more interactions and do the dance of who gets one over the other. Instead of just doing 4 actions in a row and not allowing the players to react or not allowing the NPC to react, which can make the whole scene very stilted and feel like a foregone conclusion. Because you don't get to intercept what's happening.
It's a very good way to put
it. I think short turns are pretty magical. The things they allow you to do in a session.
Okay.
it. It is the short turns that allow you to play in real time, right? You take a short turn, the other person takes a short turn, right back to you. It's that simple and that quick.
Yeah,
absolutely. I like this answer from Nicholas here, TTRPG. Too many players have been Pavloved into passiveness. You'll have to work that out if you haven't already in the hobby player. Right. And I mean, a few days ago, came up with this word, like, they have been door trained. They come up to a door and they know, all right, I must investigate the door. I must search for traps. I must listen to the door, what's behind it. I look for the shadow under the creek if something is moving.
I poke the flagstones in front of the door with a 10-foot pole.
Kick the door down already. Just kick it in. You know, like
door trained is such a devious way to put it, man.
Because it really feels, and I don't want to make the dog comparisons, but I feel like it needs to be made fun of a little bit so that players understand, oh wait, this is not desired behavior? No. You're a man. Take control over your character. You're not an animal. You don't let yourself get led around by the GM. Don't let him door train you. If he's punishing you for interacting with a door, all he's teaching you is to not explore the world he set out in front of you. Like, what logic is that?
It's a vicious cycle. And then, like, a few weeks later, the GM will go to Reddit and like, oh, the player's not engaged in my world. How do I make my players engaged?
Why are they not interacting with my, 25 trap dungeon? Like, it has 3 rooms and 25 traps, and I don't know why they won't go in there. Yeah, I wonder why, GM. Hey, do you want to go to the graveyard at a full moon to dig out a corpse? No, I don't. That's a stupid idea. All right, next question. Let's. I want to blast through a couple. Call me a faker, but I'm never going to get into 40 enough to even think about stifling my own laughter. Where did this one come from? You're not going
I have
to.
no idea.
Okay, so first of all, the assumption is that you have to stifle your laughter as a 4D player. You don't have to.
No.
You don't. The reason we do it is very specifically to not break the immersion for the other players at the table. I will laugh, but I try to hold it back a bit. I try to lower my volume. I try to do it behind my hand. But I'm not suppressing my emotions while playing the game, because I feel very much like I'm a jovial guy. I like to have fun, and I like to make a bit of fun to the other players through my character's actions, through how I interact with the world, to make it funny, because I like that. But I won't break character to do it, and it's very important. Now, if something really funny happens, sometimes I laugh, but I keep it back a little bit. I don't think that does not mean that you have to kill all emotions in your game.
I just mute myself when I laugh. That's it.
Yeah.
It's not that deep.
And for some reason,
It's not a deep role.
It has become a common conception of 4D that you have to be stoic. But I've never seen any real 4D role player who's perfectly stoic the whole game. You know.
Yeah.
It's perfectly fine.
They don't want Crispy to show up behind them and poke him in the ribs to get them to not laugh.
Yeah.
And it's I really want to drive the nail in of this is a misconception. We've had this female YouTuber brought this up to Crispy in a podcast of why are you suppressing your emotions during play? Isn't that bad? You know, isn't that maybe she phrased it in a different way, but the message was pretty much like you are suppressing your emotions during 4D roleplay. And I completely disagree with this framing of 4D roleplay. Not only am I not suppressing my emotions, I'm trying to dig up the emotions of a character that doesn't exist. He only exists in my mind, and I'm trying to embody them to the fullest I can, without getting like all drama queen about it or like artsy. What's the way? I don't try to be like a full actor about it all, but the importance is if I know what my character feels, I can roleplay it. And I find there's a lot of power in that because it is a part that allows me to understand the perspective of other people if I go through the motions.
Let me play devil's advocate here for a little bit.
Go ahead.
Because maybe instead of laughing, they could be meaning something else. Because there is one thing that we are against in 4D roleplay, and that is the prolonged discussion of how it was funny. Like you laugh, nah, dude, that was so funny. I loved this. I love it when you did, X. That was so funny. We are against that. We're against that because you're violating the continuity of the game for no reason, right? Like, yeah, sure, you can laugh, but let's keep the game going. Now, if you're enjoying the game so much, like, do you really want to pause it to talk about it? It gives me the same vibe as when someone is like watching a movie with you. They're like, oh, dude, like, look at the actor there. The actor made such a gaffe. Oh, look, dude, like, there's no continuity. Like, he had a cup on his hand, and then on the next cut, he didn't. Like, dude, let's watch the movie.
Yeah,
like,
I think a movie is a really great example because even in a very serious movie, right? You can chuckle at a scene, and it doesn't ruin the movie for other people, right?
Yeah.
But if you turn to your buddy on the couch and wasn't that hilarious? That was crazy how funny that was. Well, and then you go into a long discussion and you start making jokes with each other. Well, you're not really watching a movie anymore, right?
You're just turning around 90 degrees and say, shut up, I'm watching the movie.
Yeah. But it's perfectly acceptable to chuckle at scenes, and sometimes sometimes you excuse yourself. You're like, I'm gonna step away for a moment so I don't distract people from the movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's strange to me that it's so normal in like that context, but people can't seem to. People often don't relate it to role playing.
That's the cultural understanding is where I would describe it. Is cultural the right word? I think so. I'm not quite sure if I'm using the right word here, but it's like there's a culture around role playing of what is acceptable. The same with going to movies. So you could, if you watch a movie at home, you allow for like more chatter. You allow for people to be on the phone while watching the movie. If you watch in the movies, you don't look at the phone, and you like turn it to sound off and like vibrations off, so it doesn't make like a loud buzzing noise in a really intense scene of two characters like having a showdown, and then somebody's phone starts buzzing like incredibly loudly against the chair, and the illusion is broken if you do that kind of behavior. And the same thing happens with role-playing games. You break the immersion for the players at the table of I was right there, this intense battle scene with my character. It's life and death on the line. And then you pick up the phone call from your girlfriend to talk about what's for dinner? Like, dude, shove off. We're role playing here.
It's totally okay to just step off the table. Hang on, guys. Sometimes you don't even need to say it. You just like turn off your camera. Okay, let me go take this call. It's important, right?
You just
But-
raise a finger,
Yeah.
like, I'll be right back. Walk outside, go to the balcony, walk to the other room. Like,
Yeah.
is there a
But
problem?
there's a difference
Oh, it's
there.
not an emergency. Hang up on your girlfriend. Go back to the table. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
exactly. But there is a difference there between watching a movie and role playing, which is that you are the medium through which the movie's being played when you're role playing, right? Like you are the projector. That'd be like in the cinema if the guy operating the projector forgets to play the movie because he's like looking at his phone, you know. So it's even worse to check your phone when you're in a role playing game session. And in a 4D game, I don't think you can look at your phone, man, because they're like, take your turn, 5 seconds, turn, 5 seconds, turn, back to you. Like,
Oh my God.
Like,
Imagine
10 seconds
this.
later, it's you.
If it's the game master that's taking the breaks to explain the joke that the character just made to all the other players, right? That's just a game master stopping the whole game, kidnapping it for 2 minutes before you get to play again. Before you get to go back in and be like, can we continue, game master? I want to.
And it has a knock-on effect too, where now we have to take more. It takes more time than just the distraction itself, because now we have to get back into the game, right? And that takes time. And while we're now in this new mindset, someone might make another joke and get us right back out of it again.
That is the worst, man. Like, oh, okay, finally we're getting back to the game, and then when the person, hey Jim, can you summarize what happened in the last combat round? I didn't. Dude, that's so bad. And that's 2D advice. A lot of 2D advice. Oh, GMs, you should always summarize what happened in the last round so the players know what is happening. No, just play in real time. You don't need to summarize. Like, is God summarizing real life to you? Oh, dude, I get so angry. I get so angry at this stuff.
I won't summarize anything unless maybe at the start of the next session. Maybe that's where
that's
I
valid,
re-describe a couple things that happened. Maybe it was 3 weeks ago. Maybe it's just to make the narrative a bit more fluid. Of like, okay, we role played last week. Let me summarize of what I remember of the big beats, so that we can get back into character, understand the stakes again, of like what's going on.
When you're watching a series, they have that as well. They have like a basic recap.
Yeah.
So that's good.
I like the things that anime does well. Well, some anime do, of having an opening that sets the theme of the session. An adventure, the cast of characters, the dangers that will befall of them, the stakes that's happening, and the music accompanied it will also set the tone of, is it playful, is it adventurous, is it dangerous, all of that. And then you go into the anime, and it's almost like a literal, for anime specifically, it's a ritual to get the viewers into a certain mindset to, oh, now it's time to watch Berserk. Let's watch the anime. It's time to watch Pokemon, time to catch them all. And, I mean, that's something I like in anime. I wasn't drawing of like, you should do the same thing for your D&D games. But...
yeah, you should make. I'm gonna ask you to make an opening, an anime opening for all of our games now. Too late.
You need to make your own opening of your character. Make a 15-second snippet and every player makes one, and I cut them together. I just stick them to each other. Look, yeah, that's how you flip the script. Give the homework back to the players. I have some advice from Grognard guy, and I wonder what you guys think of this. I tell my players to channel their real emotions into their characters.
I mean, yeah, if you can.
Is that a good idea?
I think if you can do it healthily, right?
Is there danger to it? That implies the danger.
I think I think there are people who may struggle with like if they put too much of their own emotion and they're not role playing a character anymore, right?
I believe it is innocuous advice because some people might find it easy. I don't find it easy personally to channel emotion. I think I think my role playing methodology is more like intellectual. Like, oh, what would this guy be thinking right now? You know, I personally find it hard to manifest emotion into a character. So I don't think it will cause harm per se. In the vast majority of cases, you need like a big outlier to cause harm.
For me, the thing that stands out to me is like channel your real emotions into the character. I don't do that because I very specifically want to separate fantasy from reality at all points during a session. It stays fantasy. Their characters has all of those emotions. I don't have them.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have some, but I don't let them bleed into my character. Unless I think it's unless they're like a direct overlap of what's happening.
I think for me it's the real emotions, because that the real part, right? Because that implies that like there are emotions that you regularly feel or have felt. Whereas I would say relate your emotions to your character, right? Empathize with your character. Which is sort of like feeling emotions, but it's not quite the same. There's a level of separation. When you empathize with someone, you kind of feel the same emotions as them, but in a separated sort of way. They're not literally your emotions.
I think the only issue I have with that advice is that it feels complicated. To me, 4D is the simplest thing ever.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
4D is like you're role playing a character, say where they are, say what they do, say what they say. That's it. That's all you have to do, right? And maybe I am oversimplifying it, but that oversimplification works. If you are just saying where you are, what you do, and what you say, you are role playing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Is there like more advice that will make you better? Yes. But if you're just doing those three things, you're already like 95% of the way there.
Yeah.
You know?
That's a good point. I will say adding emotions to your advice automatically complicates things.
Yeah.
Because emotions are complicated. But I do think it could be an advanced thing if you want to explore the emotions of your character.
In a
but
way,
it's not necessary for 4D for sure.
I want to add another layer to this of if you draw from your real emotions of how you would react and channel it into your character, you can very quickly run into the issue that all of your characters feel like contemporary 21st century like middle-aged white man syndrome. You know, it's like, oh, it's just modern day again. Because you feel the same way about every situation and you channel it through your character. And that's a very classic pitfall players fall into of, oh, there's like a politician in town and he's very capitalistic. And suddenly players think about certain precedents in America, or they like bring up some history in their minds, which makes them feel a certain way. And suddenly all of their actions are colored towards this fictional character completely. And they cannot roleplay as the character anymore because their personal experiences like superseded and changed all of their behaviors. Which I find
which is even worse if you're playing an elf, you know, like something that is supposed to be a bit alien to humanity, you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I found that very interesting advice. So that's why I wanted to talk about it, because I really thought like, there's a bit more behind it than just, oh yeah, do that thing.
This is one of the reasons why 4D is so fun to get into, because it's a nascent field, so we're all putting our thoughts into it.
And Grognar did follow up like, yeah, the point is lost. Oh well, like, no, thank you for sharing your opinion.
No,
I very much like
that's it. That's not fair, Grognar, because you're not here like to discuss with us, right? Maybe we can have like a healthier back and forth later. I don't know.
I made the post on Discord. You could have replied, man. Dude, the loss is on you. I pinged 4 guys. I'm not pinging 20 guys. I'm not pinging the whole Discord as an open invitation. Because if I have 8 people rock up, I'm not, how am I hosting this? No way.
Yeah, Zonalar's Inside Roleplay is really good. And I mean, like this whole thing, I think, was prompted by just Zonalar and I having a conversation late at night, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, we should get together and like talk about it. So yeah, perhaps I shouldn't speak for you, Zonalar, but I love watching your show and seeing people with different opinions. One of my favorite episodes was the one with Bleak Nick and Arch. That was such a fun episode.
It was a great episode.
It was very interesting, yeah.
Getting people to disagree is good.
Be an aggressive role player in real life and go and get the thing you want.
Yeah, co-create the schedule with Zonalar. Say, hey, Zonalar, we have a game in 30 minutes. Like, what do you mean? You co-created the...
Yeah, we talked about it.
Yeah. Gaslight people. That's the real 4D.
Yeah.
We got like several lines that you shared of... I'm looking for what the question is. So there's like a ton of writing books similar to 4D handbooks before. I wonder what is it that made 4D in particular coalesce into proper online space? And then a couple more lines. Is it technology or pre-established audience? 4D has always been played by individual table, but it wasn't a whole culture before. Well, how else does a culture get established? Is my immediate thought.
Okay, this needs to go in the frequently asked questions, because a lot of people that join say, "Oh, I've been doing this for a long time." And if you've been playing 4D for 20 years, please show us a video. But before in Slopwatch, we've called that our Bigfoot. We're trying to find like the Bigfoot footage of someone 4Ding in the past. We've searched high and low on the internet for footage of people actually role playing in the past, and we never found it. If you have it, we'd love to see it, but we'll probably be pretty skeptical. Because a lot of the people that said that, oh yeah, we used to 4D all the time back in the 80s. Like a few of them have videos, and the videos are very sloppy, as you might imagine.
I'm gonna rephrase this whole question into: hasn't 4D-esque games not already existed for years at this point? Because that's the classic, right? I've 4D role played for 40 years. Of like, it wasn't called 4D back then, but we had this technique.
Role played for 4D years, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, my answer to this is maybe. I'll believe it when I see proof. Maybe there is proof. I'll eat my words.
I believe Uncle Duke when he says that 40 years ago they never liked the modules. They always came up with their own stories, and the game master had like a hands-off approach of letting the players do what they want to do. And I totally believe that happened at many tables that want to be like, I want to see what the adventurers are doing, what the heroes are doing. But the concept of don't speak out of character and the formalizations of keep the turns short and don't describe what players' characters are seeing or feeling, those are new elements, and the lining up of all of those elements into 4D roleplay is unique.
It is plausible that they played like that before, but they lost the war. You guys lost the war. You didn't pass your genes forward, right?
Yes.
The genes that got passed forward are the strongest genes of the
you
most
didn't procreate the system, man.
Yeah. Well, I'm using the word genes here, but it kind of is what it is, because this is mimetic warfare, right? it's mimetic evolution. It's like,
right.
I know that meme is like a big meme word on the internet now, but
in a way,
has an actual meaning, right?
Let's turn this a bit. Let's turn the perspective on this a bit. Is what was most popular was the beers and pretzel style of game, and this dungeon crawl by hand that got people excited to keep on playing. So that's what got procreated. But what if instead of looking at this, you're not competing with the most popular, you are an art form. In the sense of like, you need to be pretty skilled in this thing. You need to give it attention. You need to put your energy into it to get much out of it. That's why like after 2 hours, you can be pretty wasted in a 4D session because so much is happening. one time, and all of the players need to be dialed in to have the scenes come to life in their own imagination, because it's not a game where you can like sit back and relax while you're playing. You're leaning forward and being an aggressive role player while it's happening.
Yeah, and this is what 4D did. We basically like made our own little niche in this role-playing ecosystem.
Yes.
And this is our little niche, and we enjoy it. We might not be the first, but we made this little niche,
I think as someone who's relatively new, a big thing is that the culture of role-playing games right now is abysmal. Playing role-playing games right now is pretty bleak. And I thought this before I was a 4D role player. I remember thinking, oh man, this sucks. It is so hard to find a good game. And you have someone like Crispy, who, for the first time, points at an actual play and says, these are the problems. This is why this isn't good. Right?
The Emperor isn't wearing any clothes, man.
Yeah, nothing else I've ever seen is able to say it's taking forever because you're out of character. There's no agency because the GM keeps re-narrating all of their actions. There's these very clearly defined things that you can point out. And that was so unique to me. You don't see that. So much advice is so wishy-washy. And broad and hard to understand and hard to apply. But with 4D, it's very direct,
I'm not quite sure how to answer the question for like the Q&A. Like, yeah, people, this is what I wrote down. People have enjoyed different aspects of 4D roleplay in various forms over the years, but we cannot find any actual place that does it all. And there's no video evidence.
Yeah,
but there's still
you can also
like,
say that we never claimed that we invented all of this either. I don't think 4D claims that we invented all of our techniques. It's more that we've coalesced them, right? And we've made a little community to talk about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna add this, but we don't claim that we invented all of those techniques.
But we did put them all together, right? And create a community for it.
Yeah, we put them all together and gave it a name. Gave it a snazzy name, honestly. Like, gave it a snazzy name.
Yeah.
Anything that chat wanted to add to this? Okay, Elf Hunter says he understands what Grognard is saying. I'm glad to hear that. My druid bed rotting for real. Okay. I guess that's a comment. The Lost 4D link. Here are 10 tips to speed up your combat. Yeah,
we're looking for it. We're looking for the 4D Bigfoot, dude. It's gonna be great when we find it.
The Neanderthal, the progenitor to humankind.
Yeah, yeah.
Who came before 4D? So it's a myth. It's not real. 4D, the beginner's 4D handbook addresses origins of techniques. This is true. If you do wonder about that, like the origins of techniques, Bacon did a pretty good job of tracing down where different concepts originated from, to the best of his ability, which is also limited. Like, he is still one man, one incredibly smart man that knows a lot of things, but he doesn't, somebody out there always claims like, oh, actually, I was there back in ChanCon 9044 or something, when they still pushed armies around on the table. It's, yeah, if you're that guy, you have your sources, bring them up, add to the discussion, that we can see if any of it is interesting and relevant and that we can add. But most of the time, I'm not too worried about the history. I'm worried about what's practical. to help me roleplay and to help me get into the world that we are roleplaying in and not get pulled out all the time. Bacon and
Very much so,
Dr.
yeah.
Melnick. Yeah, that's right. Dr. Mike Melnick, big guy.
By the way,
awesome.
he has the coolest, he has a unique account on the 4D Discord because his name is Orange, the only orange name in all of the Discord. So he doesn't have vetted, but he has the 4D author role. He's the only orange guy there, man. He's unique.
We need to make him roleplay, or he gets kicked from the Discord.
Yeah, in the future, he's gonna get the. In the future, he's gonna sell his Discord account for millions when 4D blows up and we conquer the world.
Oh my god,
he collectors.
Yeah, he just makes lots of money.
Yeah, when we co-create our victory.
Some people might call it delusion. I call it co-creation.
I'm finding the questions. Okay, there we go. Next question. Some posts of like curious about that. Immersion is a term used in every art form, including other forms of gaming. What makes 4D role-playing in particular rejected? What makes 4D role-playing rejected? Now, I am very much in the other side of this discussion of I like immersion as a term, but I like to call it immersive as an adjective, immersive roleplay specifically, instead of saying immersion as the noun.
So, if I recall correctly, the context of this question is that people clowned on someone bringing up immersion in the 4D Discord. And there are a few layers there, right? First layer, the most superficial one, is that we get this comment a lot, right? A lot of people come in and they talk about immersion, including I. When I first joined the 4D Discord, I went on a massive tirade on RPG talk about immersion, right?
This is why we don't allow new people to show up in RPG talk anymore.
Yeah. So we get tired of it. There's also the massive meme of Arch, the whole Arch dream immersion thing. But it's not
being
that
immersed isn't good enough. You need to dream the Arch dream.
Yeah,
it's like a layer deeper.
It's not that we are like against immersion or the idea of immersion. It's just it's not a very useful goal to have when you're trying to make an immersive game.
Exactly, it's intangible. If you're making fun of people saying the point is to have fun, you can swap out fun for immersion. It's another meaningless term to a certain extent that won't really get you the results you want, right? And I think that it's fair to say that 4D is very results oriented.
A big point that came to my mind about immersion was people get immersed in the rule set or in the system. Or people get immersed into playing a game with a group of people at the table of like this, oh, I'm immersed because we're like 5 people chatting, like coming up with battle plans and a back and forth battle. But we're talking about getting immersed in the role play, into character, into the world. And that's still a bit intangible. There's still like room for misunderstanding, which is why we moved away from calling it getting immersed, because people would frequently misunderstand what we mean by it.
And it's also that immersion is entirely subjective, just like fun.
Right.
You shouldn't seek something that is subjective. Like
I cannot train people to get immersed. Like, all I can do is keep your turns short, focus on the game, don't ask the game ask questions, react in character.
Here's an example. Oh, you go first, Pancake. Sorry.
Me and Conway were talking a little while ago about this very topic, probably when this question was asked. And my thought was, immersion is the buy-in, right? When we buy into an activity, we get immersed into it, right? That's sort of it's sort of a choice when you get immersed into something. It's a lot like flow state, right? And usually I think of immersion as more as like a sign of something compelling. And so you're better off making a more interesting thing than to try and make a more immersive thing, because people can be immersed into very unrealistic things just because they're very compelling things, right?
Yeah, it's subjective, right? That's a good way to put it. I mean, here's an example. You might be having like a let's say like a Greek mythology game, and you describe like, oh, the Corinthian soldiers approach you geared in black bronze armor, right? Some
Correct.
players might be super immersed. Oh wow, that's cool! Like they're wearing bronze and stuff. But then another player might be like, I don't know, because Corinthians they used the bismuth bronze, a different type of bronze. Like like you did one thing, and like it's subjective. Some people might lose immersion, other people might gain immersion. So is there really much of a point to seek out immersion? I don't think so. I think immersion, much like fun and much like story, they come as a byproduct of what you're doing at the table. And you should focus on doing a good job at the table so that everything goes well,
In a way, my goal isn't to. I mean, I would say like my personal goal is to be immersed in the world and
Mhm.
to like explore the aspects of my own character, who is not me, to like see a different perspective. But that's not the goal of everybody. That's like my specific goal that I really enjoy from the hobby. What makes me come back to role playing again. Uh, but man, I had a
There
thought
is
there.
a
Go ahead.
yeah, try to get back. But there is a point that I wanted to make here that I just thought about, right? Let's analyze the question, right? Other mediums use immersion. No wonder other mediums use immersion. It's easier to discuss immersion in other mediums. Think about a movie. When you're watching a movie, the buy-in is smaller than playing a role-playing game. Because in a movie, all you do is watch it, right? So it's
Yeah.
easier to achieve immersion because the director is controlling the camera. The director is like showing you everything, right? So it's easier to make a movie immersive than it is to make a role-playing game immersive.
Hmm.
Because in that one, the player is actively doing things, right? And
Yeah.
even a video game, because a video game, though it requires a little bit more buy-in than a movie, it is more scripted. So it's easier to talk about immersion in the medium of movies and video games than it is to talk about immersion in the medium of role-playing games where anything can happen.
Yeah. It's immersion is downstream of suspension of disbelief, right? And so when you
Right.
walk into a movie, you've already suspended, like, I'm going to sit and the director's going to show me the story he wants to tell. And I've already accepted this. I've suspended my disbelief for that already. So it's much easier for me to get immersed into the movie. Whereas with a role playing game where literally anything is possible and you can do anything, you don't have that grace as much.
Yeah, this is a bit of a more nuanced question, I suppose,
Mhm.
but a really good one as well.
It is difficult, and I don't have like a succinct answer to add for the Q&A. And I guess
Mhm.
like the big one is like immersion is hard to measure as to whether a player is being immersed or not. And I would say like therefore we don't use it, or we try not to use it to judge um, the success of the session is how I would phrase
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it is a
It,
platitude, much like fun. I think it is good to
yeah. It, it
add there.
it it can be used for you to say I was very immersed in that game, therefore I liked it quite a bit,
Yes,
right? I like being immersed, and so I enjoyed that game because I was very immersed. But it's not useful in asking, well, did you 4D role play? Were you in character? Were you, it's just it's not related to those things.
exactly. And I mean, I said it before, but well, I don't want to reiterate too much. But you can very much be immersed in the combat and in the tactical talking through of how to approach a combat scenario with the other players. This is the classic 2D game Or maybe
Yeah.
no, it's the classic 2D game.
You should add that to the answer. Different people also mean different things with
Yes.
immersion, right? It is a multifaceted term that can be used for several different contexts.
Yeah, like being immersed in the combat strategy of overcoming a challenge. While we often use being immersed for roleplay as a shorthand. Should I add that or leave that out?
You can add that, no problem.
While we use being immersed as a shorthand for being immersed in roleplay. Now, like being immersed, like then people argue, what do you mean with roleplay again? You know, it's so it's so silly. But I think it's gonna have to stand with that for now. Let's see. I see chat has been very active on this. Okay, we got some more compliments about 40 roleplay. Thank you very much, Daryl. And I always forget who Daryl is. Like, I know he's on the Discord, and he told me who he is. But look, man, if your name on Discord and YouTube are two different names, I will forget you. That's weak branding, man. I'm sorry.
You're right, Mr. Terror RPG.
Yeah.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Wink. Okay. Yes, and like we talk about everyone co-creating and adding to the description before, I'd say it tends to increase immersion / mental resolution. That's a comment by Elf Hunter. Yeah, so it adds to the world, which allows you to imagine more things of what's happening at the table. And when you're busy imagining, like, yeah, you're right there. You imagine the world, you imagine what the other players are saying, then you imagine how your character is reacting to it, and then you take your turn to verbalize it out loud.
Mm-hmm. I find co-creation very immersive, but I would not say that as a rule, because we have had people like Arch who find co-creation very unimmersive because your character's not creating things in the world, or
it's breaking the world he has already imagined as complete by adding new elements that wasn't there before. Therefore, it's not complete anymore. And I'm trying my best faith interpretation of what he said.
Yeah.
Because we did try, me specifically, went in 3 voice chats with him, Bleaknick and a couple of others. And 2 of them ended up on YouTube, thanks to his permission, which I'm very grateful for. It allowed us to actually get through of what he meant. Mm-hmm. To the best of our abilities, of course. It was tough, but yeah. I'm scanning the comments, but I'm happy to move on. Go ahead.
Yeah, it seems that Grognard guy has very much agrees with us in these points.
Okay. Yeah, I like. Yeah, he puts it well. You can get immersed in everything. So TTRPG session can be social aspect, absolutely. The procedure, rules, combat part, or the fictional world. And we definitely focus on being immersed in the world. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm pulling up the comments. And we got 2 questions over here by somebody. Sometimes I have names, but sometimes I don't have names, and I also don't want to be like some people don't want their names mentioned because those are posted on the Discord. Yeah. You know, it's it's assumed, like it's a semi-public space. I will milk your comments for content, but you know, we
Yeah, it's in the rules. You can't assume
yeah,
privacy here.
yes. So 2 questions. What are some strategies, techniques for strong anchoring? And the other comment is disconnected from this. So, some strategies and techniques for strong anchoring. Well, what makes anchoring strong in the first place?
Well, anchoring in and of itself is already very good. It's already a good technique, right?
Yes.
But of course, like many things, it can always be improved upon. So let me focus on that. So what makes strong anchoring? Thinking back to the games that I've played in, what usually makes anchoring very memorable to me, and not that it needs to be memorable, right? Sometimes anchoring can just be to reaffirm the scene. But what makes anchoring memorable, and in my opinion makes it better, is when the anchoring is telling you about the world and the characters. That is what comes to my mind, right?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
when you're in a tavern and you describe your character as like, my character, I put my back to the wall, cross my arms, keep watching the door. That is anchoring, but that is telling you so much about the character as well, right? Like, is he waiting for someone to come through the door? Is he worried, or is he just naturally very aware of the world, right? Maybe he grew up as a thief, so now he's very aware, you know,
Yeah.
and putting his back to the wall. Maybe he's just bored, like he's crossing his arms, you know.
So I would say what makes strong anchoring is very similar to what makes like a good scene in a movie, right? And a good scene in a movie, when a character does something in the movie, it means multiple things, right? It has multiple meanings. There's the physical action in the right now. My character's sitting over here. There's what it speaks to about my character. There's what it means for the world. There's what it means, and if you can hit a bunch of different aspects with one sentence, I think it makes a more powerful anchoring. But I feel like this is a little more of an advanced thing and not necessary for just playing 4D.
And we're talking about conveying character there, but it can also convey the world with anchoring.
Yeah.
Another memorable piece of anchoring that I had was when we were playing the Pathfinder games, you and I, and we were like walking through the swamp, the swamp of Belaim, right? And you just
Oh,
describe
yeah.
yourself. I slap my neck as a mosquito lands, right?
Mhm.
And that reminds you, oh damn, that's right. I'm in a swamp. There's mosquitoes. It's humid. It's damp, right? So strong anchoring will remind your players of the context they're in. So you can do, of course, you can do good anchoring to externalize what your character is thinking, and you can do good anchoring to reinforce what the world is, the world state, you know.
I'm also thinking, so this is what I got right now. When it tells you something about the character or about the world, it should reinforce the theme.
Mhm.
Yeah. Another moment that was very strong anchoring, in my opinion, was during the scene of the Lich's Dregs game, where the orcs were testing my character, right? The rite of passage.
Oh, yeah.
That was such strong anchoring because there was a very intense scene going on. Like 2 players might start killing themselves. That's how intense we're talking, right? And all the players, their anchoring was very simple. They stop and stare at the 2 players about to fight one another, right? And that is so simple. I
Yeah.
stop and stare, but that adds gravitas to the scene because now like everyone knows that this is an important scene that is about to happen, you know. So
And
another good point of
yeah.
anchoring is, well, I suppose you consider this is just like adding more of like the character into the scene, right? Because what is about to happen is very important.
It
Good
it adds
anchoring.
to the tone of the scene when
Yeah, the
characters
tone,
stop
yeah.
and stare at it. Yeah. It also shows that the characters themselves are invested in what's happening.
In that situation, it really reinforced the gravitas of what is happening. Like, as a game master, I can hijack the scene, I can change it, I can mold it based on how the world reacts to it. And I thought this NPC that went with you guys, like, he's like was just slowly sharpening his blade watching you guys. I think he stopped sharpening it to just watch and give it his full attention. And I'm not describing why he's watching or what he's thinking. I'm thinking it to myself. He wants to know if your character has the balls to be an orc, or if the leader is going to accept like dissidents, or will he cut you down? Like, what kind of leader is Mr. Max role playing?
And if you ever got into a fight in real life, that does happen. Like when two people get in a fight, like everyone stops because your like lizard mind can like read body language. Like, this guy's about to swing, so everyone stops and watches when a fight is about to happen usually. And
things are getting dangerous. I need to pay attention.
Yeah. So to reinforce the character, to reinforce the world, and to reinforce just the tone of the scene, what is happening.
You can add to the tone, or you can change the tone as well with a good anchoring scene. The whole thing of when you had this traumatic, the slaying of the child, and you decided to actually follow through it. You went through many emotions for the character of why to follow through with it. And what changed the tone was Nicholas screaming out like, "No, the skull is ruined," which cut the tension in half and was so perfect. And to the point of he was worried that it was like too funny, and I thought like, no, it's not too funny. It's perfect. It's perfect.
He did what the goblin would do.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good response. Let's look at chat though, because Plainsman is asking, what is the difference between anchoring and just taking a turn? Is there a difference? Is anchoring just part of say where you are? That is a very good question.
Mm-hmm. I would say yes. It basically is, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. What is the goal of taking a turn? The goal is that you get to play the game, right? Mm-hmm. My wife told me the other day, because I keep bringing up, take your turn. She says, it's not a turn-based game. She looked at me like, it's not a turn-based game. And so I'm always
literally
thinking,
is.
I'm thinking about it. Well, is it or is it not? Combats are all turn-based. If your dialogue is not turn-based, what will happen? The guy with the biggest mouth will speak the most. That is what will happen. So you will have the imbalance of your shy nerd, or like somebody's girlfriend, and like this big loud guy who cannot stop talking. Like overbearingly so, keeps on taking turns after turns after turns after turns, because he has so many things to say and so many things he wants to do. And you have to realize, no, you're sitting there, it's a social context with other people that also want to play. And so how do we all get to play? We each take turns. Yeah. And how do we keep it from being boring? We make the turns very short.
That's the secret. You're always taking turns, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
The other thing is, your character is constantly doing something, right? You're eternally doing something as long as you're alive, right? But obviously, with the medium we're using, only one person speaks at a time, so turn basis it makes sense, right? Because everybody is doing something at all times, so and that's why quick turns make sense. If we make our turns as fast as possible, we can get as close to everybody is constantly doing something.
Yes.
Very much so, yeah. And I would add to this that the anchoring, even if you have like a quote-unquote wasted turn, the anchoring is still very important because you are physically present in a scene, right? Even if it's a simple turn, I lean further back against the tavern chair, and take a swig of my drink. That might feel like a wasted turn and you're wasting everybody's time, but no, because now you reaffirmed your existence in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes it much easier to imagine, right? Oh, while Frank and I are discussing the terms of the contract, Bob is over there just sitting and drinking, you know?
Yeah. Or Frank and I are in a bar fight, and he's still just relaxing there, you know, and now such a simple action can speak volumes about your character.
Like, oh yeah, and then Bob's like, oh yeah, it's like the 5th fight we had tonight, you know? Like, it tells you about the world and the characters, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the answer. Tell me if I should add anything or change. Yes, anchoring is a part of saying where you are. Taking a turn reaffirms your existence in the world, and that you get equal time at the table. Is there anything that should be added?
Zonolar, sorry for interrupting, but we have a new person in the chat here, PM Nara. Howdy, I discovered your channel because you reviewed my old role-playing group, Roleplay Nights. I just wanted to say that I appreciate you taking a look and encouraging the guys to continue. Unfortunately, things didn't work out with myself and them, but I wish them the best in the future. Hope you're doing well. Hello, PM Nara.
Wow, that was ages ago. Roleplay Nights.
Oh,
yeah, I remember.
I don't remember this one.
I remember that I did it, but yeah, it's been a while. Let me gonna open this up real quick.
It's very interesting. It's always nice to hear back from.
Yeah, they did the containment zone. Is what the game was called back then. So I'm sorry if I don't quite remember the advice I gave, but thank you very much. I'm so glad to hear. That first of all that you appreciated it, because it can be easy to come across as like cold-hearted, or feeling like some people might think, oh, he's just a grammar Nazi, you know, he's walking around on the internet looking for mistakes to correct, which is not my goal. First of all, it's partially because it's fun to see how things are being done and criticize it, because there's a catharsis behind it, to like pinpoint the problem. There's a catharsis behind it. It's a bit of a like counter movement to everybody constantly being way too nice on the internet, like always praising like, oh, this is so great and it's perfect and I hope you don't change, you're perfect the way you are. And then we watch them like not take a turn for 15 minutes just asking 20 questions to the game master. And I'm just thinking, like, who is going to tell them? Is anyone ever going to tell the truth? The reason why it gets me upset, because I'm thinking the 40 years analogy of the people are being led around in the desert for 40 years. And then they have this one chance to learn about how to improve the roleplay. They tip it into YouTube, and if I, Bob World Builder, say nothing of value for 20 minutes, they're like, well, I guess I should just believe in myself. They can walk back into the desert for another 40 years. And it drives me insane. Calling out Bob World Builder because he has 1 million subscribers. He can tank it.
Yeah. Yeah, we like having a personality here. It's fun to talk that way. But I think that if you sit down and talk to the people who are in the 4D Discord, they're very nice about it. We love telling people about our way of play, and maybe it could be a little bit mean every now and then because we're judging them by our standards, not theirs, right? But still, I don't think there's no harm done, and I'm very glad to hear that you think Zonal was graceful.
And awesome. I have this notepad on the side. Man, I love it because I could just go back and look at the notepad at the end. Things I wrote down. Describe actions clearly. Asking questions in character. 13 minutes, only one player. Yeah, there was a turn where one player talked for 13 minutes, I remember. Stop prompting players. Yeah, that was the thing. The narrator was constantly prompting players. Stop asking GM questions. I got really upset at that one. I put an exclamation mark at the end of that one. As good character voices. I was really impressed with character voices. And I was like, it took 25 minutes for one player to get like a turn again around the table.
That's rough.
Yeah. And it's really something like nobody thinks of this as a problem until you realize, all right, if everyone takes 5 minutes to make their whole turn, it will take 20 minutes until it's your turn again. So break it down to 1 minute or to 30 seconds or to 2 sentences. Break things down, break them down. Why? You don't lose time. You share time. You get your time back faster.
You get so much more done. It's wild. Just shortening your turns, you get so much more done.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe sometimes. You know, I went years thinking that one shots are just impossible. You can't do a one shot. That's
Literally
impossible.
I can't achieve anything in a one shot. It's not enough time.
Yeah, it's not enough
for
time.
sure.
And now with 4D roleplay, it's like, oh, 1 hour. Yeah, we can roleplay in 1 hour.
Yeah, and that's the other thing of Nara did say, like, it's very daunting to upload a bunch of noobs role-playing onto the internet, lol. I agree. It can be daunting. Most of it is in your own mind space, right? It's in your own head of what if people won't like it? What if people are upset? What if people... Well, what if people do like it? What if people enjoy your personalities? What if they enjoy the story that you're creating through roleplay? You know? And it's also expectations of... It's so easy for us to set ourselves up for failure. I think I do it with my own role-playing games of, oh, suddenly I have this ambition to make it into a show that's interesting to watch, which is not roleplay. It's like I'm adding a whole other list of skill sets on top of roleplaying, which is super hard.
And also, you just have to respect people that take their time to post something on the internet, because once it's there,
Yeah.
it's there forever. You know.
Mm-hmm. I respect it. Yeah.
Yeah, like they're good people. Well, I believe it. You know, sure. Most people are good people. Only some of them are real assholes, but most people are okay. But that's yeah, definitely room to improve. It's totally normal. I miss playing with them a lot, but time zone be time zones. Oh yeah. We feel that pain. Me and Conway,
Yes, we know.
Pancake, we know.
We all know.
If you're interested in 4D roleplay, I put the Discord channel in the description down below, and the beginners 4D handbook should be in there as well. I hope. I would have to check, but you can check the description if you're interested in how we roleplay to like get more out of the game and remove things out of the game, like talking out of character, to help us get more out of the time slot we take. Like, if you can only play once a month with your group of people, you do want to get the most out of it. And that's what we try to achieve with 4D roleplay. Get more out of game.
Very much so, yeah. So I think we have one more question, Zolar.
Right, yeah,
from the same source, from writer Andrew on the Discord.
What are the best ways to approach travel in 4D game? At what point, if any, is it okay to fast travel to get to the next location?
Oh, we had a whole game about that, didn't we, Zolar?
Oh yeah. We might even had like multiple episodes with this problem, because for like 3 episodes I was super slow in the Lich's drags for what's happening in the world, what the characters are doing.
Yeah, so earlier when talking about other questions, I mentioned the fact that we like the idea of 4D role-playing in real time. As in, you know, if you're not talking for 5 seconds, 5 seconds have passed in the game. And that idea might make it seem like you never want to fast forward. And to a certain extent, I would be against most cases of the GM fasting, but go ahead and creating a fast forward in the game. But there are moments that you need it, right? You're not going to roleplay 73 hours of marching through swamp to get to the dungeon. So the interesting aspect there is that the players will prompt the GM for a fast forward. That I think is the best way to do it. And you kind of need to tell them, like in session 0, right?
Yeah.
But we came up with language to fix that in the Lich's Rags game.
Yes.
And the language we arrived at is the language of taking prolonged actions, right? So you can do something like I eat an apple, right? I bite into an apple. But it can also say something like I begin marching down the road towards the town of Belay.
Yes.
Right? And that gives the idea that I start doing something that will take longer. And that is sort of like you like handing out your character for the GM. Okay, I start doing it. I'm gonna, keep walking down the road until we get there. And that is fun because that allows the players to have more control over when you start fast forwarding the game. So they're gonna have like a discussion on the road, and then they will ask for a fast forward. And I think that this is the best way to do it because then you still handing control of the scenes to the players. But what do you guys think?
I pretty much agree with that. You can also think of it like in a movie, right? When we're in a scene, the scene is played in real time, and then the characters exit the library to head to the police station, right? And then we cut to the police station. And so that would be in the role play context, that would be like all the player characters describing I walk out of the library and begin heading over to the police station. And that would be signaling to the GM like, all right, we want to go to the police station and we don't intend on doing anything particularly interesting along the way.
I'm thinking about the Dimensional Intelligence Agency game that was a one-shot. It very early on I played with Nicholas, and I think his name was Al. Man, it's been so long. We also did the Primal game with him. And in that one, we had a road trip way outside, like drive for the whole day, kind of fast travel. And we got into the car, we drove up to some driveway, we ordered some burgers, and then we started driving onto the highway. And those are like all small little snippets, like there's fast travel happening. Like we teleported, like we traveled to the driveway, we got to the highway, now we're driving on the highway. You can always make scenes smaller, but you can also make scenes like make the skips bigger. And that's how I like to do it, of like take small bits and make them bigger, make them bigger. The game master described it this way of like 4 hours have passed. And like we would say like we look at the time and then he would describe like how 4 hours have passed. At one point he described the sun starts to set, 2 hours left. And I would describe my character in the other seat. Like I'm now in the driver's seat where I wasn't before. Or I took my jacket off and I hung up the jacket and like this, what are they called? Like the jacket holders, for to hang them up on. I had one of those inside the car because I'm like almost like CIA agent, right? Like part of the agency. The suit has always been like flawless as much as possible, so we take it off during the car ride. And like I opened up the shirt, the windows are rolled down, there's a cigar in my mouth. Everything to describe like what does like an 8-hour car ride look like. I look completely different. And I think those little anchoring scenes as times are skipping really help selling the time has moved as well. So it reinforces the movement of time. And also allows the players to have fun roleplay and not feel like, oh, we're just... What does it even look like if you walk from one town, like a fantasy world, from one town to the next. It takes 2 days travel. We are not all having Lord of the Rings jogging experience over the landscape. Like you pick up the pace, you slow down, you have some chat, somebody's playing a song, the other guy's telling him to shut up. You know, you can have small little dialogues which will set the pacing for the travel.
Like
That's why I
the
think it's
idea. I like the idea of the turns sort of ramping up in because turns don't have to be, if you think of a turn, it doesn't have to be a few seconds of what your character does. It could be, what your character does over a few hours or a day, right?
Yep.
And so for traveling, I do like the idea you brought up of like increasing the scale of your turns as you travel further and further.
Yeah, that is my worry. My worry is the GM creating a casualty when it comes to the role play, right? If you give the player the tool to police their own pacing, then they will do it. I don't think a lot of TTRPG advice is giving about pacing. There's like techniques of pacing. Just
Mhm.
let the players do it, because the players are the characters playing in the world, right? So the players should be the ones dictating how things will go. If the players decide not to do something, they won't, right? I mean, surely the players have actual agency in what they're doing. So let the players guide the game forward. Let the players decide the pace. The
Mhm.
one caveat to that is that they should sort of follow what you said at session 0, right?
Yeah.
Session 0 say, oh guys, I want like a movie style pacing, so let's try to be faster. Or you can say, oh, I want like a more series like pacing where we're taking like a deeper dive into these characters and exploring them. And you will find people in the Discord that prefer more movie like, more series like. So just discuss people in session 0, like how fast you want the game to be, and then let the players go ahead and guide that using those principles that were discussed.
I think there are a number of techniques that can be used, but I do think they all, like Conway said, I think they all need to be pre-established. You can't just drop them on your players, right? Um, whether it's the ramping up of turns or a certain amount of time, like maybe travel turns are counted in miles or whatever. I think there's many ways you could do it to still have role play along the journey and stuff.
Yes.
But I think the important thing is to establish a procedure with your players beforehand.
Yes, the procedure is an important thing. If you want an example of this being done, check out the Lich's Dregs, the latter episodes of the Lich's Dregs,
Yep.
where it was in the sessions, it was in the post-session conversation that we came up with the term prolonged action and the idea of describing yourself starting something that will take longer to increase the scale of time passage.
Absolutely. This the yeah. Thank you for recommending the videos. I have them on my channel. It's right on this channel. Delicious Reacts. I got it. I put it in a playlist. You can just watch the whole playlist, all
You're a
7
sellout.
episodes. Do it now. Click the video, like it, subscribe. Okay, that's enough. I had this other thought about the big problem with time skips is some players who have ideas they want to pursue with the characters while everybody else is doing a time skip. One guy is building a house, or somebody is sleeping, or they're doing something that takes hours or maybe days. And this other guy is playing a vampire that's okay, while he's sleeping, I'm awake, and I have this whole night in front of me that I want to explore. And they end up taking 20 actions, and it ends up being 45 minutes at the table of roleplay, while everybody's just sitting there listening in. And even if the game master says like, "Do you guys want to do something?" and we all say, "But our characters is asleep. There's nothing to do. We would just be sleeping right now." And this is an external problem outside of roleplay itself. This is the social awareness at the table of don't take 20 turns, even if your character would be awake and everybody else is asleep. You need to have a level of mindfulness of how you want to handle this. Either you can do this like a way of doing it would have the scenes parallel while other people are doing their stuff during the day. You do your stuff during the night, unless you think time is sensitive, where like doing it parallel would mess with everybody. In which case, I would just say, keep your own turns while everybody else is doing nothing. Keep them more broad and focus on
Yes.
a couple of things you want to accomplish and keep the scenes broad.
I was about to say that. That's not to say that you can never do that, but if you do it in a mindful way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Speed it up a little bit. You get to the point so that everyone can keep playing. The idea of 4D is that we all get quick turns back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And as a player, you need to police yourself about that a little bit as well. Because remember, the players have a lot of power in 4D. You actually have real agency as to how the scenes will go, and you can't abuse that. That's all part of having good conduct and playing in good faith.
Yeah.
And it's not a hard rule in a rule book either. It's you need to be aware that you're playing a social game with people at the table, right?
Yeah. When you go to someone else's house, like there is no written rule, like, oh, you can't punch my dog. But you shouldn't punch someone's dog when you go to their house, you know?
Don't do it. Don't punch the dog. He didn't deserve it.
That may be customary in some places.
The dog isn't dog trained yet, you know.
Oh, no.
All right. So the answer: use your turns to define how much time you're taking to do a thing. I'm getting in my car and drive out of the city. That can be a time skip. And like describe taking prolonged actions.
I think putting something in there about establishing procedure beforehand is important.
Establish procedure with your group on how you want to handle time skips. Because many tables, they literally just ask, do you guys want to move to the next scene? Which for me breaks the world, it breaks character. But it also like cuts through the noise of, are people wanting to roleplay or do they just want to move on to the next impressive thing to do?
Mm-hmm.
A bit of this is a mindset problem.
You don't want to roleplay going to the loo, right? You don't want to roleplay for 20 minutes, like defecating. That's not something you should do.
20 minutes.
I think you should do it.
I have a problem there, Conway.
Might need to eat more fiber. But you got to talk about it in character, you know?
Yeah.
You got to tell my elf to eat fiber in character.
Yeah. I do agree with the principle. Like, it just shouldn't be the focus of the game. And it's very much the setting and the tone that sets the what you're spending your time role-playing with. If it's a mundane setting, you can focus on mundane things if you want to. So if you do describe yourself defecating, it should add something to your character or to the scene that is relevant.
Okay. That is a funny point, but I agree with it. If you do focus your game around the defecation scenes, they should convey things about the character, yes.
In the world, yeah. And just the act of role-playing out the defecation scene is establishing a tone.
Move on. I don't want to talk about scatological role-playing. I don't think that's...
Yeah, I'm taking a very like what's the word? Intellectual approach to this, I guess. But I have mentioned many a times the one time I took a wash with my dwarf in that one tavern scene. Because for me it was not something to quickly skip over. It was very cool for me to describe for the dwarf. because many things were tied into the act of cleansing yourself that I wanted to express. I could have just skipped over it. Like, it could have been a time skip, you know.
Well,
30
you-
minutes
you
later,
were-
I will come out again.
You were playing a monk. There's that aspect to it.
Yes.
And also, it wasn't gratuitous. A lot of the time, people will take issue with some scenes being played out because it's played out to be gratuitous. And just don't play
Like,
with assholes. It's as simple as that.
gratuitous, do you mean like excessive or gross?
Yeah, with gratuitous, I believe I mean you do it just to annoy people. You do it
Right,
just
right, yeah.
to have the salaciousness of the scene, you know?
Yeah, that's a classic, roleplay classic.
Yeah. If you need to have like different tools for like consent in your role-playing game, then you're already playing with weird people, you know?
Yeah.
See, guys, let's not do anything too taboo, you know? You can leave it at that in most cases.
If you need a
I don't think you need
contract,
safety
if you
tools.
need a contract, it means you're not trusting each other enough. There's not enough trust in the group.
The fact is, and you know, we've known this for ages, and yet we've forgotten it for some reason as a society. People who have to use safe words are weirdos.
Yes.
I am a weirdo. I admit it. It's true.
Wait. What did he mean by that?
Nothing. Let's move on. I don't need safe words. No, stop, please. No, I don't need them. Okay, let's move on. No, that was the last question. Let's see. Okay.
Yeah, we did all the
Reaver.
questions.
We got
Yeah.
through them all. We got through them all. I will take like a bonus question from chat. The best one gets added to the list. If you guys want to think about it. You two guys, we did 2 hours. Do you want to look at the videos after, like, now, 2 minutes?
It's like that's the treat after you go to the dentist, you know? You get some
Yes.
slop.
Yeah,
You get the
yeah,
little
yeah.
lollipop at the end.
Are you
yeah.
down for the slop
Yeah.
watch? Like, for myself, I always do 2 hours, and anything more than that is a bonus. But I didn't make a time frame clear with you, Pancake. Do you
Yeah,
have
I'm
time?
down.
You're down?
Yeah, I
Okay.
got
I'm down as well.
I'm down to watch some slop.
Let me get a drink.
Yeah. Get a drink. Relax a bit. I need to refill
Yeah.
my cup real quick. I
We are
got
true
everything.
slop connoisseurs.
True. I'm gonna relax a bit, like read a couple chat notes as we slow down, go to the next phase. Phase 2. The Constant Paladin, yeah. Constant Paladin. You guys are really funny. I'm gonna head to bed now, but it has been nice chilling for a little bit. Yes, have a good night, Nara. Thank you for coming by. Glad to hear some
That was
positive. Glad to hear some positive feedback for once, because, well, it's not true. I did the Pathfinder guys also replied because I left a comment that I did a review, and like if they wish to watch it, I hope they enjoy it and that it's in good nature. And they took it well. They took it well as well. They were pretty much like, "Thank you, but we like the way we are doing things," which is what I expect. That's like the baseline of I appreciating the attention being given, but not wanting to change how you're doing things.
Yeah, I think that's a good cordial response.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really awesome that they showed up.
Yeah. Invitations to the 40 Discord? Yes, absolutely. Playing with net randos with nicks like Uncut Hog Toaster. Uncut Hog Taster. No wonder they need safety tools. Use saves, not safe words, says Houdini. It's like a quote by Houdini. I don't believe you. Is that a quote? I, maybe it is. Yeah, we don't have a high trust society anymore for some reason. I think there is, but not in the grander concept.
Grognard guy, how do you deal with metagaming in an otherwise 4D session? Don't play with metagamers. To be
Tell
honest.
them to stop.
Yeah, tell them to stop, and if they refuse, don't play with them.
Like sometimes it's a problem of understanding, right? Because if somebody metagames, they might think this is okay. So you have to explain to them why you don't like it, why it's not okay. So one concept to understand would be you don't play the game to win. You play the game to find out what happens next. So that's a shift in perspective of why to play the game. Now, if this player wants to win, then you move to the next point of like, yeah, if you want to win, you can, like, there will be things that will happen, and I will challenge you, and you can use the rules to, like, act in character to achieve your goal. But those should be things that your character knows. If you should not supersede your character's knowledge with, like, outside game knowledge, like metagaming, to achieve your goal. If you do, you basically, what is the right word? I mean, you break the verisimilitude of the world, right? You break the world wide open. It's a game now. It's no longer real.
And if you're playing with people who have the goal of just playing their characters to find out, it is sort of bad faith to have a different goal like that, right? I'm not saying metagaming is necessarily a bad faith move. It is in the context of a game that is not a metagaming game.
And that's the difference of, like, some people use metagaming to describe, like, I'm using the most optimized build to play. And that's fine if you're still role-playing. If the most optimized build is still in character and can be role-played, I don't have a problem with that. I mostly have a problem, like the other problem you can have is the imbalance of one player's way too powerful and all the other players are kind of useless in comparison. And then the challenges are not fun to roleplay. It's just kind of like
potential. Yeah. You would have to know that that's the case beforehand, and everybody accepts that, because you could totally roleplay a game where one character is much more powerful than the others, right? But it does kind of have to be pre-established. And one thing I will say about metagaming with character builds is it still needs to make sense with the setting and the tone. You can make the craziest character build you want as long as it still fits with our setting and our tone.
So Grognard is pivoting. You halt a 4D game to address metagaming? Well, what's the metagaming? What's happening there?
It depends on how bad.
It is a myth that we never pause a 4D game. Like, if someone gets a call and like, oh man, like, my daughter has an issue, like I need to pick her up, like drive her somewhere, we'll pause the game.
Mm-hmm.
Can metagaming be egregious to the point that you need to pause the game? I would say yes. Sometimes, if your character takes an action that makes like complete zero sense, you should, like, I think that you should think about what is the fastest way to solve this issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it is faster to pause the game for like 3 minutes, it's like, dude, come on, don't do that. Then you should do it. And sometimes when teaching people 4D, you might need to take a little pause because they'll do something that they might not even know is a faux pas, and then you remind them. You continue to play the game. I've seen it happen in vetting sessions. I remember if it was you, Pancake.
Somehow you get all the bad apples.
Yeah.
Well, I do all the betting sessions, so of course I also get the really good apples.
Yeah, so if it's faster to solve the issue by pausing the game real quick, hey, come on, dude, like don't do that. Like we're trying to play a game like this. Let's get back into it. It might be better to pause the game every now and then. It depends on your own judgment of what would be the best way to solve the issue.
Yeah,
So
I think it's a very contextual thing.
Grognard says he's like halted a 40 game retconned an action because it was so egregious, but I wasn't sure if it was the 4D way of doing things really. Egregious in what way? Like egregious
without
to me
specific
sounds
context.
like the player's character did something that the character would never do, but it's a smart thing to do as a player and you know it, so you're doing it anyways. And if that happens, I would just let the player roleplay the character of doing what he's doing. Every time he does it, the world falls apart. That's what I see. So at the end of the session, or like, if it happens like a second time and a third time, I'm telling him, what are you doing? Play your character. Why are you acting this way? I will confront him. If this doesn't get anywhere, I will tell him, okay, like if this happens next time, I'm not showing up again. I'm good. You know what? I'm looking for roleplay. You're destroying my immersion. You're breaking the verisimilitude of the world. I don't worry whether I'm losing and you're winning. I don't care. I just want you to act in character. If the encounters are too hard, we can make them easier. We can adjust them a little bit. Like it's no skin off my back. I just want you to stay in character. And ultimately, if you have two different goals that contradict each other, like trying to win a game and trying to roleplay, don't play together. You don't have to. Like you always have a choice. Whether the choice is like shitty roleplay or no roleplay, that's also a choice. You can also
maybe don't.
Yeah, go ahead.
Don't roleplay together at least. You can always play different games. Because if you're metagaming, why are you playing a role-playing game?
Why are we playing a game of chance where we roll dice and check for skill checks? If you want to win, they are only getting in the way. If you want to challenge yourself, then challenge yourself by not metagaming like an idiot. That's for me that's like cheating yourself of something cool, of success.
Yeah, there's just a different table that might be much better for that, since people like saying that 40 isn't the one true way,
Okay, we got a bit more of the story. He said, I sneak up behind him and slit his throat, as if he was the Flash, but he wasn't, and the guy was described 100 yards away, wearing armor. In that case, you just say, like, I sneak up behind him, slit his throat, that's what he wants to do. You say, you re-describe, he's 100 yards away. And if he doesn't pick up on it, then you ask him, what is your movement speed? Describe what you do in one turn. I feel like some people need to be reminded to take short turns. It could just be... I've told you to stop at least once.
Yes.
Conway, stop. It's not your turn.
It's good. Even people that are, in good faith role-playing, they get excited, It's human.
Yeah.
It is good to get those little moments where like you're reminded to what you're supposed to be doing.
He wants to slit his throat, so you can do this. Like, I sneak up, I sneak through the 100 yards and try to sneak up behind him. That's one check, and then you find out if you achieved that or not. If the game master describes like the back of the character, right? If you describe the back of this card as he's like standing there leaning one foot to the next, you can now describe more of the armor, and then he can say, and I slit his throat. For me, that's a fine action. Like in 4D roleplay, of course, I grab my dagger to slit his throat. The dice will decide whether you succeed or not, depending on the game, right? You cannot roleplay yourself into success. And then I built like the atom bomb, and then I launch it to across the world to my enemies.
I agree. It seems like a minor infraction, and that I would, like Zonalar said, I would probably re-describe the scene a bit, maybe put emphasis on the distance, right?
Yes.
But I don't think I would stop the game for that.
It's like, okay, like he says, sneaking up and slit his throat. It's like, hold on, roll your sneak, and we go from there. That's what I would do. Like, let's take shorter turns. Roll for sneak first, and we go from there, and then we go back into the world. And if it keeps happening, then like eventually I will stop trying to. I will eventually run out of patience, pretty much.
Yeah, this is why I specify that it needs to be your own judgment of what will be the fastest, most seamless way to fix it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know your players. You might try, okay, he's 100 feet away. Like, you can repeat that. And if that doesn't do it, then you might need to auto-character mention it. And sometimes what I've done before is I've changed the world before when the players attempted something that they might have misunderstood, right? Then we're getting like into other techniques, right? 4D game, the chief thing in your mind should be, let's keep the game going, right? So take the action that keeps the game going.
Mm-hmm.
Be it calling them out of character, or be it re-describing the thing so they might understand, right? Up to you.
Yeah.
Keep the game going.
All right, let's move over to Part 2, Electric Boogaloo. We have 3 videos. Which one do you want to watch? Because we might skip one of them, you know, it's like which is the one you want to watch now?
I've been promised good slop. There's a video of one guy taking a 20-minute turn. I think I saw somewhere in the Discord.
The title is Brennan's Astounding 20-Minute Speech.
I don't know that I can handle this.
We'll handle the first minute, I think, maybe.
Handle it. Let's listen to a minute and then we will go from there. I'm double checking if the audio is good on my end, but I start
already
sweating.
I hate the way Brendan speaks.
Do you want
have
to
critical role fatigue, guys?
Yes. Any forward before we start off? Why do we have the oof face, you know, before we even listen? Like, he might have a fantastic 20-minute turn that will absolutely blast us away. You don't know that.
I think any
are the players there?
20-minute turn could have been broken down into 100 turns, and it would be much more impactful.
But then he wouldn't get to the end of his speech. You know?
But if the players get in the way, the scripted scene might not happen. What then? Oh God. Can you imagine the humanity if the players get an ounce of freedom?
The devastation.
Yeah.
How dare you invoke agency upon me?
I guess that's like the big thing that I want to point out. Holding your grand speech is not worth the sacrifice of your players' time to interact with the world, which is a bad trade-off.
Yeah. I would also say that the dread comes from the reputation, right? Brennan is a very popular DM. We see many things. We see many videos of people saying, "Oh, he does this thing that's so amazing," and then you watch it and you're like, "Oh my God, I would, if I was at that table, I'd be miserable."
Let's
Brennan
see.
has a bit of reputation.
Maybe he does it better than other people, so we can listen in to judge if this is the best example ever, or just, you know, kind of average. I'll tell me if you cannot hear it. Tell me.
Otto says, "It is already a matter of fact that House Royce did not vanish into fairy, Lord Primus. So, who is responsible for that ghostly gala at the Palazzo Dovinos?" You see, the Primus is looking off balance. He says,
he just stopped there. He should have just stopped there. Like, he asked a question to the players, and then he just continued going.
Or is he talking to another NPC?
Oh my lord!
I don't know. I don't know what's happening.
Is it better or worse if the players are not even present in the scene?
I get the vibes of this is Sherlock asking a
Rhetorical question.
A rhetorical question, yes, that's what I was looking for. Asking a rhetorical question because he's about to explain the answer. That's the vibe I get right off the bat.
Everything. What time is it on the video right now? Can you mouse over, Zoller?
23
So
seconds.
everything past the 20 seconds is already an overblown turn, I believe.
He's a deity, basically, says Plainsman. Well, luckily, we are the god of war. We can just kill them all. Can kill all the deities.
Well, perhaps there was an assassination attempt. Perhaps they were a part of it. You see, he goes,
It is
you are not going to
two
convince me
NPCs.
that Aranessa...
Yeah, he's like talking back and forth between two NPCs. I can imagine them being like spying in on this or something. You know?
Royce kidnapped
Give them
herself and
turns,
destroyed
then.
one of her vassal houses.
They have to stay hidden. Give them turns.
I want to at least hear one person describe themselves holding their breath, you know?
Mm-hmm.
There was an empty gala the night after what is alleged to be a massacre at the Palazzo de Vinos. Who created the false gala, Primus? It is known.
I find it weird that he's looking to the players in the eyes.
Yes.
Because it makes me think that the characters are there and they don't get to talk. You know, it's even worse. I'm in class,
Is
the
that
teacher
the-
gets to talk, I don't get to talk.
The
Jesus.
substitute teacher, like, holding the ruler, like, going
Yeah.
along the each desk, like, you don't get to talk.
I get to talk. I have the ruler. I have the stick.
Primus
I am the one. that
looks
speaks.
out.
He rolled something?
Yes, he
He
did.
rolled.
What did he roll?
He always
Looks
rolls.
out. Primus looks out.
He's looking out, so he rolls a perception check. Perceptitis. I don't care for perception checks, but if they're hiding, listening in on this, maybe. Sure, why not?
Look at this. Look at this frame. Look at the players' faces. This is me.
Yeah,
It's also what I'm
yeah. The guy on the bottom right.
The gnome. And you see that Otto looks out and says, I beg your pardon, Lord Primus. I am not being questioned here. This attempted deception, this false gala, which you are responsible for, and I remind you, we are not in a court of law. I do not need to convince a judge or jury. Your biggest problem, Lord Primus, is that I am convinced. So, perhaps we can refrain from rejoining with interrogations of your interrogators, Lord Primus. This deception, Royce venturing back to Ferry, is a betrayal of the alliance of the Sundered Houses.
Okay, we gave it 2 minutes.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm out. Nothing of worth is found in this video. This could have been an email.
It's gotta be in an email.
Not
Yeah.
only. It could have been an email.
Yeah, it could have been an email. Like, hey guys, this is what happens. Like, you hear from the grapevine. Know this for the
Not
next
only
session.
is it a horrible turn, it's very pretentious, which frustrates me greatly.
That's the whole thing when people say, oh, I hate it when people talk in character because they take forever to get to the point. I imagine this NPC talking in my head. Oh, this is why people hate role playing, because they are exposed to Brandon Lee Mulligan as a role player.
Dude, why doesn't Brennan Lee Mulligan just do solo roleplay and then he can go nuts?
But then he
He
has
is
no
doing solo
audience.
role playing.
No, he has
Watching
no
him do
audience,
solo
so he
role
cannot
playing.
do it. Right? This
Well,
is the
he'd have an
problem.
audience. He'd have an audience, but he wouldn't have a what's it called? A trapped audience.
Exactly. I think that's a big problem. I mean, I don't want to project too much onto Brennan. Not too much. Like, he's some guy on YouTube. I don't care. Like, he's famous. I don't know him. I don't know anything around him except for what he does in Critical Role. Since I've been watching for years. I've been a fan for a while, and then stopped being a fan for 40 roleplay being straight up better. And I very, very much felt like, yeah, I evolved past this point of needing to soliloquy the audience with my great orations and how cool I can speak for the different character voices I can come up with. And some of that is cool, but it really cuts away from the time the other players have to roleplay.
I don't care about NPCs. Even as a viewer, aren't I here for the player characters? Like I want to. What are the player characters doing? What is happening? I don't care about these side characters. I want to see the main characters. How do the main characters feel about this? How do the main characters react to this? That's a problem in movies too. Is like I don't care about who you're showing me right now. You established a main character. I wanna stick with them.
Yeah, and I see this with pity, I'll be honest with you. Pity. And I say that because in a 4D game, you can trust your players to carry out a cool scene like that.
Mm-hmm.
But imagine your usual passive 2D player. What do you need to do to have a scene like this? You need to force everything. And that's what he's doing. To be able to believe that he will be able to get a cool scene, he's just playing the whole game for them. He's running the whole game by himself. He's a human cutscene, human cutscene computer. Just there to describe what happens in a cutscene.
It's the Final Fantasy 14 cutscenes where you don't get to do anything for 12 minutes as the cutscene rolls. Like, Jesus, let me play the game again. I beg you.
He clocks 20 minutes. This man is a machine.
Do you want to
He's
skip
certainly
forward?
a professional.
You think the scene's getting better 10 minutes in?
I think I'm done. I've already
good?
checked out.
Checked out.
Do you want to? Oh, okay. It's done. There we go.
It's gone.
That's what we think of the 20-minute turn.
We can rest easy. He's gone.
My comment on the 20-minute turn is everything past the first 20 seconds was too much.
And even small things, like if the players, like, they really want to know more, because it's a scene between two high-ranking NPCs. The players want to listen in. They don't get the chance if they barge in and talk to them directly, because maybe none of the characters has the social standing, status, or money, like wealth, to get them into that conversation. So you do different things, like invisibility spell. That's a great one. Like shapeshift into a mouse. You try to listen in.
If they're listening in, the two NPCs that they're listening to are not the only part of the world that is active right now. What about the guardsmen on patrol? What about the servant dusting the room that the players are in?
Yes.
And that makes an interesting dynamic scene, and it gets the players involved again.
And that's the biggest crime against roleplay, is not involving the players.
Mm-hmm.
Even he did a tiny die roll to change the reaction of the NPC. For a while I thought he looked down and was literally just reading the script of what the NPCs were talking about.
I don't trust a single die roll Brennan makes. He is the guy who does the fake die rolls.
Oh, he does it for dramatic effect too.
Yes.
Yeah. And that, I mean, that's definitely the goal, to be like as dramatic as possible. So
Mm-hmm.
on the hierarchy of needs, I can see him
The GM.
do
The
that.
GM rolled a die.
Oh my God, what does it mean? It's
The tension. Oh my gosh.
stop trying to trick your players. You don't have to door train them, you know?
Can you imagine if you need to pretend to have emotion and you could just play a character in real time? Wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous, Conway. Never heard of such a thing.
Over here we have Bards of New York. Pretty decently sized channel. I've got this one linked on the Discord by... I'm not gonna name him by name. Fear of repercussions on him. He didn't like it. Now I can say it. Crispy linked this and thought, like, oh my God, they keep talking. They keep talking. And I listened to an hour. And I can confirm there's lots of talking. So,
Found a positive slop worthy of Overwatch.
we're gonna give it a minute and see what we think. Then we give it another minute.
What others perceive you doing is their perception of what you're doing, not the goodness of what you are attempting. So in turn, if you perceive it to be good, that's the only thing that that's the only thing that will matter to yourself. Everyone else is just fodder.
I feel like if you
Okay, character.
I love it. End a moral sort of lecture with everyone
There's a
else
guy
is
commenting out of character. It's
fodder.
over. It isn't cool anymore. He was talking in character, and he might have talked a little bit too much, but he was in character, you know?
Yeah, he was really... And he was hamming it up too, like getting out like his I don't mean like his emotions, but like his character and how he talks about something. I find it's a very powerful tool for role playing, because you can add an extra layer to the meaning of your words this way, in comparison to if you just say it very flatly. And I like that. And then it immediately gets like undercut by the other player making out of character jokes. Like, why are you doing this to yourselves? It's literally called Bards of New York. This is the table that I expect can keep it serious for a session. If any table out there can do it, that's like the kind of YouTube channel I would look at and feel like, oh, they should be able to roleplay, right?
I just realized something, and it makes a lot of sense to me now, where you would think people who do acting and stuff, they would be able to stay in character, right? Because they would be able to take this seriously, right? But of course they're not. The theater kid is not going to take this seriously, because they would probably see role playing as lesser than acting, right? It's a less serious activity. I do the real acting when I'm up on stage, and so I don't need to put as much effort in the role playing, because it's always strange to me when you see these actors and it's like, can't you talk in character at all? But they
There's
just
also
don't
the
take the medium
notion.
seriously.
There's also the notion this is an online game, so they have their own like personal brand, and one of the reasons that the people watch their celebrities play role-playing games is because they want to see the reaction, the human reaction, not the in-character reaction of things, right?
Yeah.
So there's a conflict of interest there, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know them personally, but I tend to agree. I'm not aware if any of them are famous, but if you call your channel Sports of New York, I guess they're like all voice actors, that kind of stuff, maybe. Or maybe it's just a branding thing, you know, like, oh, look at us, we know how to speak in cool voices, make dramatic scenes, which is what they're really going for in this session of what I've listened to.
Yeah. So John, it's not your turn. You're interrupting someone playing in character, and you're breaking character. let's see if they can keep it in character.
Crazy work!
He went to
That
the House of
accent.
Cards School of
Crazy.
Moral Timbre.
Bill Wurz's History of the
That's the thing that happens, right? Like, you got the girl flinging around her ball on a stick on the camera, the other one laughing and clapping. Like, I clapped and I laughed. Literally, you cut the tension out of the scene with that one comment, John. And this is the reaction he wanted, right? He wanted people to laugh and to clap, and to because he's looking for this human response at the table of like, yeah, I made them happy. This is a good thing. But it's bad for role play. It's bad for the scene. It's bad for the tension of what's going on at the table. And so you're trading one thing for another. So for the people at home that are watching, like, I don't expect them to ever watch this, but for the people at home, this is what you're trading when you do this. And it's hard to realize unless you've experienced it once and then watch somebody else ruin it for you, like while you're having this moment get taken away, then you feel the pain of like what could have been.
Yes. It's a huge problem to have different levels of engagement at your table, where someone's really engaged in the role play and another person isn't. It's really frustrating.
Yes.
It's really, really frustrating to have every one of your cool moments undercut by someone who doesn't like the tension.
Absolutely. I'm giving them a bit more time now.
the entire world, I guess. You could make a big religion of it. Wait, don't.
That was crazy and I loved it.
That's called deontology. Fun fact.
For Chauncey.
For Federico.
They still have not managed to get back in character. Will they ever?
For who?
Give it to me.
For He's coming on the field out of left field. It's anyone.
Nobody look at me while he's talking to Federico. It's fine.
It is something that
I feel like they've been out of character longer than he
if you
was
have
in
good
character now.
intentions, you're probably a bad person. If you have good intentions, that is step one. And it is not a problem to have good intentions. It is a problem to not realize that your intentions need to be good for you and others. If you do not have good intentions as a whole, it will amount to nothing.
I am cracking up here because he is talking like that Indian guy that said democracy is when it's ruled by the people, but the people are stupid. He sounds exactly like that guy when he's talking.
People are retarded.
Yeah.
So I think this is a classic problem with people who want to roleplay a smart character, a charismatic character as, oh, I want to be suave and charismatic and all of these things, and trying to say words that have like gravitas and meaning behind it. Is you cannot fake it. You cannot. So don't pretend. Don't try. Say what you want to say.
I don't think that it's just that he necessarily is doing a bad job at role-playing a character with gravitas. I think it's more to the case that he is overdoing his turn. There are like three different times there on what he said that he could have been like a natural pause for someone else to step in, right?
Yeah.
Well,
he kind of made the same point 3 times as well.
Yes.
Yeah. He's overdoing it.
Yeah.
This is the thing of, I feel the pain of, I want to say something with weight behind it. And what I do is, I anchor my character of like wiping his brow, blinking, like furrowing them, looking up to the sky in frustration. And then I speak the line I want to say. Because I had some time to think in between. I'm not trying to string sentences together one after another. Trying to sound clever. I can use the anchoring scene to express some emotions without words to help the other players realize like where my character is coming from and then try to say the sentence. And it's not as eloquent, but it helps with like bringing the message across.
Actually, I think that's a really interesting point where the problem you get with the talking head syndrome, right, is that if I'm expected to be a talking head, I need to be talking and talking and talking, which makes your words less worthwhile. Whereas if I can take even a whole turn and just describe my character sitting there in contemplation, thinking about the words he wants to say, and that the anchoring can give you time to think of better words, and it can give the words more gravitas when they come, because it's like, wow, he took a whole turn to say this.
There is another idea there as well, which is this is like his one turn. Actually, what time is it on the videos on? Let's see when his next turn comes around. Because maybe this is like his one turn.
You don't want to wait for 40 minutes. No, you don't. Like that's what's happening in this video.
So of course you want to talk when it comes to your turn, man.
Yeah, that's true.
It's also this is a great argument as to why to keep your turns short as a table, not as just you, but everybody needs to be on board that this is a good thing and should be done. If you all
have a real conversation, a real back and forth between characters, instead of doing like slam poetry 5 minutes between each one.
A couple of them have that human interaction back and forth, but then they only do it between two characters and they stay on the scene until the scene is over. Whereas if you ever watch Game of Thrones, you would have 4 different scenes. They intercut between them, go back from scene A to scene B to scene C to scene D,
right?
And then go back.
Because each of these main characters are important.
Yes.
Right? And we have 6 players, and all 6 players are very important. And so we need to know what their characters are doing. And Game of Thrones realizes, like, we need to keep Jon Snow in mind because he's very important. So we're going to keep coming back to Jon Snow. We're going to give him turns, right? Because he's a main character.
Exactly. It's also like I would call this a bit more of an advanced technique because it doesn't have much to do with 4D roleplay. This has more to do with pacing in general. And what does it mean to have pacing that is good? How do you describe it? Pacing is good is when all the players get to play the stupid game that you showed up to play, guys. That's good pacing, man.
Yeah. That's the big difference, is that because we're all taking part in the world, we don't have to. The pacing of the story doesn't matter. The pacing of when do I get to act in the world matters infinitely more.
I want to give them a bit more because they have so much to say. Yeah. So let's.
I want to hear more.
I want to hear if anything of it sticks out.
Selfishness. I believe it's pronounced wahole.
Why is that even hot? God damn it.
Stop interrupting the people role-playing.
So
oh my god.
And I didn't do a time skip yet. They interrupted like twice within 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It's unconscionable, actually. Like, this would never happen at our tables. Literally never. Like, maybe an interruption an hour? Like,
Mm-hmm. And then even then, it's short. It's a short interrupt. Usually out of some kind of necessity. Someone's confused or something, right?
That you make me think of a point of what does this interruption signal? It's an indulgence, I feel like. Indulgence is the word here. Of you are being childish, indulging yourself into interrupting other people's scenes by making a quippy comment, which I find, first of all, hugely disrespectful. Not because, they're laughing, so clearly I'm trying to frame this in my mind correctly. They're laughing, either because they find it funny or because they have no other choice. Because if they were sad, they would need to have enough self-respect to leave the table, to be like, okay, I actually want to roleplay more, but I can't because the other players like to laugh and joke a bunch. So you're cutting yourself short to stay with the group, with your friends at the table, playing games. I say that because that's definitely a thing that happened to me many, many tables, for sure.
Yeah, this is not a role-playing game. It is a social club. We show up every now and then, and we laugh a little bit, and we go back home. There's like zero substance to it.
We like to be dramatic, so we will do in character sometimes, but we can't take it too seriously for too long.
And why not?
Yeah.
This is supposed to be the serious roleplay club.
They're having fun.
New York. They're literally role-playing out super dramatic scenes and then undercutting themselves like a fucking laugh track, like it's Full House on TV, It makes no sense. It breaks my mind. This is supposed to be prestige roleplay on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. And this is why when you tell people like I love roleplay. Roleplay is my favorite part of the hobby, and they're like, really? You want to do that? And they point at these people.
I don't blame them.
I'm skipping an hour because I want to see somebody else talk. Please.
Interloper.
There's a solemn moment Jin takes. I know.
I like that. That was a bit of anchoring. A solemn moment he takes, and then he talks. That added to it immediately.
Pieces.
What do I recognize in Ghost? What feeling am I seeing?
Roll me a magic check with advantage.
Don't tell me this. I've been praying that this hasn't been the case.
The question led to out of character.
What feeling am I getting? How would you frame that in character? I think it's very difficult.
I think it's not that hard because he's got this magical ability. So you would just be like, I peer into
his emotions.
The essence. I sense his emotions would be very direct. I peer into the essence of the ghost to see the emotions it's feeling. Something like that.
I observe its emotional state.
The coolest thing there was that they riffed off of one another. One person took a turn, and then the next person took a turn.
Yeah,
that's groundbreaking, apparently.
And
now imagine if you keep stringing turns. It would almost be like a role-playing game, right?
The thing that I hate, and I say hate. I was debating whether or not to use that word. But the thing that I hate is, as soon as a roll is asked for, he breaks character to make a comment about something when rolling the die. And I'm thinking, rolling the die doesn't mean you need to break character.
Yeah.
It's not a Pavlovian response of like, oh, die roll, time to make a comment before I roll the die. Like, no, cut it out. Cut it out.
But Zolar, if I don't make a little cheeky comment, it will be a tense scene, and I'll be uncomfortable.
Be uncomfortable for once in your life. Allow yourself to get there. It's a role-playing game. You're playing somebody who you are not. They're allowed to feel emotions that you are not ready to feel because they're not you. You're not them.
Well, and this is true of every medium, that when you start taking a hobby seriously, when you start taking movies seriously,
literature, books, movies, anime, anything.
Books, you're more willing to sacrifice the social ha-has of making fun of a movie with your friends and sit down and really watch the movie, right?
Yeah.
But what's always confusing to me is like, well, why not sit down and watch the movie and then we can talk about it afterwards? We can have all our ha-has and we can take the movie seriously.
Absolutely. Right, we gave them 5 minutes already. I think like 4.5 minutes. Do you want to hear more?
Yeah, let's keep going.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Thank God I
There's
was
a
a 1. I was a 7. I'm going to use my inspiration. I got it.
Hit it.
That was
Much better. 21.
Let's go.
21.
Right, it's one of those things of like, oh, I'm going to use my... I like it when they shortcut it, like, I'm using inspiration, just do the roll. This is what we mean of like, all the out of character talk we do, we try to keep it short, we try to keep it snappy, we try to keep it out of the way so that we can stay in character, we can stay role playing, and allow room to breathe, to like have the theater of the mind on, and not turn on the lights and, you know, now the ceiling lights are on and everybody sees who's in the pews watching, like asking hot dogs, who wants hot dogs? Like, no, I'm watching the theater in my mind. Shut up, hot dog man.
Did one of your homies ever roll a dice so good that you start clapping?
He started clapping. He started clapping at the 20s.
Maybe that's the real roleplay. The real roleplay is the friends we made along the way clapping at fucking D20s, man. It's insane.
I can say that I've never had a player at my table start clapping.
I feel like the clapping is so performative that it became normal to them because it's what they do now. That's what I'm imagining, because you got the audience, got the people, you got the good response. If you don't clap, now you look like you don't like them anymore. It's like, I don't know how to understand these twisted minds, you know. It's like, I don't get it. I'm roasting them a bit too much, but I don't see anything to like them.
Look, these people are not nearly as egregious as the last video.
That is true. Yeah.
If anything, do it at 21 can.
Bullet 23.
21.
What does it mean?
Look, she's building tension.
You showed Ghost and Lucan a memory.
What?
One of Jin speaking to the crew, speaking to Captain B, and Jin talking about how it was very early on in his time with the Cloudburst crew, how the world that he was experiencing was one that was beautiful and wonderful, but still defined by loss. And then Captain V turned to you and said the following. Why would we ever allow such a droll descriptor to paint this wide, wide world with but one color of paint? It's hope, darling. Hope. And it's...
Okay. I just want to draw the attention to the thing that she looks down at something behind her screen at a particular point. And it, for me, it just feels like she's reading off a script of the emotions of the ghost that is having, that they unlocked. You know, it's like a prepared dungeon thingy of like, oh, you unlocked the script text, let me read it out for you.
If I was a player at that table, I would not remember anything that she said because she was talking way too long.
Yeah.
If you're going to go schizo about like reading scenes, right, Zolar, I'm gonna take it a different route. Okay. First off, that's insane. Do you guys notice what happened? They're like, GM, I got 21. GM, 21. Do the thing. Role play my character for me now. I got 21. What do I do? Dude,
well, I think she was describing the ghost's memory.
Yes.
No. She said
that's what I heard.
You put an idea in his head about this memory. It's like it's the player doing that. The player is playing the memory back, and she's describing it. It's so weird.
Yeah, I kind of missed that.
You imagine. Oh my God! You hear, you see, you feel. No, you imagine.
Let me tell you.
No wonder.
Let me tell you how you rotate the apple.
No
The
wonder.
apple rotates in your head 25 degrees.
but seriously, no wonder that they clapped the 21, because that is the closest they will ever get to doing something with their character. They're there to roll the dice. They're little dice bots. They're there to tell the GM what they want to do and how much they rolled, and the GM will role play their characters for them. It's insane, man.
Okay. I give them another 30 minute skip and see if they pick up the pace. 2 hours. This is uncharted territory. I've never watched this part.
People.
Who are they? Do they have a name?
Have we said revolvers?
I don't think we've said it in game.
We've not said it in game.
We say it
in
above
canon.
table.
I'm not cursing.
Well, he was in character, right? He was asking in
Yes.
character. And then they were like, wait, have we said this above? Have we said this in game yet?
That's the thing. If you talk out of character, you will cross the streams of what is in character information, what is out of character. Was your character there or not? You don't know because you're not paying attention. You're not paying attention. You're too busy clapping at 21s, making jokes. That's the problem. Like, this is the source of the problem. I just
It's
want
insane. Insane how they start talking in character and it's like being thrown to the wolves. Like everyone jumps at them to interrupt.
That was literally 8 seconds. I give them a bit more.
The whole thing.
We're the Weavers. Believe it.
I was talking to Woody on the phone
I'll
today, and I
canvas it
said
right
Weavers,
now.
and he was like,
Oh my
I'm not caught up with
god.
the Weavers. And I was like, oh.
You know what?
Oh
I think
my
we did
God.
discuss.
Let me, as the GM, tell you guys an
People
anecdote
might have their
about what I did
individual
today.
goals to stop the wedding. We are trying to save the world.
I feel like that's something you should be more certain of, if that's the goal. I'm joking.
We're trying to find whatever is in below the court. And at least for Casca, and I assumed Olkamara and Rafa, I don't think stopping the wedding is part of that.
Something I
don't
find a
think
little frustrating is that they're all mirroring each other's mannerisms.
Yes.
And so all of their characters sound exactly the same.
They all talk a little bit like this, where they lower their voice slightly, sound more important as they speak.
Oh my god,
Everyone's talking like
they all sound like fucking pirate software. I hate it. Fucking
True.
I hate it so much.
And you guys know what's the name of that like feminist test, like where two girls must talk about something that is not a man? It's like the Bechdel test, something test. You guys know what I'm talking about?
No, but that sounds hilarious. It's
It does
absolutely
sound-
there's a term that's like when like in a movie where like two girls talk about something that isn't a man, right? And like whatever. We need a term for like that is like this for role-playing games, where when you have a scene with more than two people talking to one another. Because every single little role-play moment was one-on-one. We've never had like a group meeting where the group discusses. It's always like right now it's like Kyle talking to John. Before it was the GM talking to one of the other players, you know? Like they always have one-on-one moments, but they never really feel like they're in the same room. Because they're not. They're just like floating heads, right?
Yeah, I have no idea where anyone has ever been during this entire thing.
So the issue there is that it doesn't feel like they're all role-playing. Because it's just a series of conversations. It's patty cake, like
They
head syndrome.
may as well just do what Lindy Beige did and commit to just being a writer's room theater king thing, right? Have you seen the Lindy Beige
No.
thing?
I have. I recommended Crispy to try that one. It's it is very weird.
Diabolical.
Yeah, it is the weirdest. It is the weirdest game we've watched. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't call it a game, but I respect it a lot more than this.
Yeah, it's at least self-aware enough to realize that if we're gonna just play through scripted scenes, we might as well script them together at the table. You know.
So I feel like to bring back of this style of game, which is happening on YouTube, I can see lots of, I don't know, like I see a certain demographic of people feeling attracted to this theater kids play role play style game of, oh, I'm going to like act more. I'm focusing more on the acting of my character and his emotions. So, do you feel like the way they talk is adding to the characterizations of the character, or not?
Only if all of
not.
them are role playing the same person.
Yeah, I
Which is
say
not
not
the case.
because they're just mirroring each other, right? If there was one character in here who spoke like that, that would speak of that character's character. But if literally everyone in the world speaks like this, then there's nothing to differentiate any characters from each other.
Well, I assume it's called Guild of Thrones, so I think they're all like kind of noble, haughty, and I think some of them are like teenagers or something, like.
But
high society, young adults kind of story.
That is a whole other can of worms. I am tired with the amount of media that is just a bunch of like fantasy Seattle. Fantasy Seattle describes like so much media nowadays. Those two words, it's insane.
It does.
I don't even know what the game is called. It's like, it's the first of the masquerade's bells begin to toll.
You know
Rafa learns about the monsters under Dul Kamara's bed. It's like,
you know what, Zonlar, you're right. I think they are role playing their characters because they must be role playing hipsters, and so of course they all sound the same.
I think they are.
Yeah.
I just think it's really I feel like I could role play a more interesting hipster than what's happening here, because the difference would be the big difference would be anchoring more, talk less, anchor more. Describe
you think
your
hipster.
Yeah.
I can be way more of a hipster than you, buddy. Look here, listen to me. You can be a real theater kid, okay?
He broke the fourth wall just to make them listen. As the background showed up, he leaned forward. That's awesome.
Conway grabbing me was whoa.
Listen to me. The demon came out. I'm done with parts of New York.
Yes,
guys,
I think we've seen enough.
You failed your role-playing class. Show up after class. I'll give you some notes. We can have some weekend lessons. You have to show up at my house. Like I don't have time to travel. Hello. I'll teach you. I'll teach you. I'm being we are over 3 hours in, so I'm joking a bit. But I did not like what I was hearing. Okay.
There are inklings of roleplay. And this is the interesting thing, right? These people will finish their game and they'll think, damn, that was some cool roleplay that we did. Mm-hmm. And their minds will remember the roleplay, but they won't remember like they won't remember like the 5 minutes of interruptions between each roleplay scene. So they'll think they're roleplaying. It's maddening. If you watch your sessions back, you are so much more aware of your shortcomings, which is why, like in the 4D community, we really like recording your games, because when you record them, you can go back and watch them. Like, damn, like I can't believe that we interrupted him, and it took like 3 minutes to get back to the game. You know?
Yeah.
Then you start adding those up, and most of the game, in the vast majority of cases, most of a 2D game is just interruptions, and you can get so much better roleplay. Even better, I would even say, even if you want to be a theater kid, you can get a lot more theater kid if you just don't interrupt people, right? I think that a lot of the 4D advice can be introduced to a variety of different types of games.
Yes.
Absolutely. That would be like impromptu theater of just role play out what your characters are doing. And then you have, of course, the co-creation part of developing a story depending on what you say next. You know, like adding more elements. And if you remove the dice, you pretty much have that, right? Like your impromptu acting, like improv acting at that point. But if you just remove talking out of character, you can have incredibly dramatic scenes that can be satisfying. It's not role play because you're not playing a game at that point, but you can have most of the other things.
Yeah.
The thing that had me thinking for a second is, do people think if they can't cut out on the social chatter, like when they do a roll, when they make a comment about out of character, when they talk like, oh, this was out of character knowledge, right? Do they think if they don't make those social checks, they are being antisocial? This is what I imagine must be the fear behind it. Oh, I must reciprocate this, otherwise I am antisocial. And I don't want to be antisocial, so I must signal that I too can speak out of character.
You're not being antisocial if everyone else is doing it. That's the thing, right?
Yes.
A lot of things that I hear from 4D players are like, I really love it when we talk about the game like after the session.
Yeah.
And it can be a little bit of a highlight, like getting to talk to your friends. Because it might seem like 4D people are like all business, no fun. But that's not the case, because what we do is we maximize game time. And then we have like our little social moment. It is really fun to talk to your friends. Like, you play with these people every week, you're going to become friends. And you want to like talk about the session that you just played. You want to talk about the game that happened last night, everything, And you get that like 30 minutes after the game.
Yeah. In reality, we can only roleplay for like 2 hours. But because of, you run out of energy, you run out of steam. But our sessions are still like 3 hours long because we talk for an hour, because we relax and we hang out and we talk about the game.
Which, by the way, to continue with the movie analogies, it's what happens when you go with your friends to a cinema. Like, you don't talk during the movie, right? But when you're coming out of the cinema, like, you're all talking.
Yeah, very much excitedly so.
Yeah.
It's only role-playing games where this is like social norm. I don't know why. It's only role-playing games.
It's weird, and that's the thing. Like, I wish it's a cultural problem. I wish people would break away from this as being the only way to engage with the hobby. Because, like, I always had this feeling of every time I try to do it, there are 4 other people at the table who don't want to, so I don't get to do what I want because I must conform. And eventually I had to make the choice of, do I want to burn out or do I want to do what I want to do? And after, like, I had to burn out multiple times before I stopped showing up at trash tables where we are only talking out of character. And the best reason to show up was for the social engagement, which is good in its own right, if that's the purpose. But I would know in my head, the roleplay will be minimal. I'm there to visit friends and see friends again. And enjoy that part of doing a game together. Yeah. And if there will be roleplay, it will be few and far between.
If you're playing a role-playing game, if you want to get into a social event with your friends, which is a noble thing, right? It is very good nowadays to spend some time with your friends. Then must it be in a demented role-playing game? Because you're wasting your time to read the book. You're wasting your time to prepare a character. You're wasting your time to prepare a session if you're a GM in a 2D game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Must you really do all of this, like, nonsensical actions just to get to meet your friends? Like, dude, go play a board game.
That's the crazy thing to me, is like the level of investment you need to play a role-playing game is pretty high. You need to read a sizable book. You need to know the rules. You need to make a character. You need to show up and play for 4 hours straight, right?
And you need to pay a lot of attention to the little details, from like the rules during combat to what the player, what the NPCs are telling you, and what the GM is describing.
So many people go even beyond that. They buy in paint minis. They pay for like weekly subscriptions to get battle maps and stuff.
My God,
dude, really?
But then they don't take
it seriously.
it seriously. But then they don't take it seriously. Yeah.
Your D&D
Like, look-
Beyond subscription, the Patreon subscription for the animated battle maps, like they've set up the virtual tabletop for like 30 hours to get the animations work and the music to play. And then the player doesn't even know how to move his character, moves it out of bounds and breaks
Yeah.
the whole fucking
Yeah.
system for the
then,
next 45
and then
minutes.
while the player and GM are trying to fix the malfunctioning battle map, there's another player
Yeah.
talking about like his grandmother.
Yeah.
Like, dude, like it's insane that you jump through all of the hoops to have a role playing game, and then you don't even play the role playing game.
You're insane. You're all insane.
You're the crazy ones.
I'm literally the only sane person on planet Earth. Okay,
Yes, a video game.
everyone
by
else is
hand.
insane.
I agree.
It's true. Conway is the only sane one.
I've seen enough glamour and glory.
Oh, is there another slot? Ooh.
We got the Chubby
is this?
Funster video.
So
So
this is gonna be interesting.
Oh,
yeah, I don't even know if I want to watch it. I think we can, but I don't know if like watching it is gonna make talking about it better or interesting. Let me lay down the premise. I wrote it down real quick. So, Chubby Funster is he's a friend of a few people in the 40 Discord. I've watched him. I've watched a couple sessions of him GMing Shadowrun. Of like they play Shadow Dark, I think. In Skyrim.
Oh, in Skyrim, yeah.
Yes.
I was there for the streams as well.
Yeah, I watched a couple since Bacon is playing there to see of like what's happening. But yeah, it's a classic OSR game, from what I've seen at least. You know, it had all the hallmarks, and with that comes also all of the things I don't like about OSR, because there's not much role play happening when you're like full on dungeon crawling.
Yeah.
But that was, you know, it's upfront. It is what it is, and if it's honest, I'm happy people play that way, because it means I don't have to show up at the table. You know, I can play the games I like. They can play the games they like. We're both happy.
They're martyrs. They are at all the bad tables, so you don't have to be. You know,
The sacrifice is appreciated.
Yeah.
So this video, he makes videos both for as GMing advice and videos for like writing advice. And this one called Writing Social Context in TTRPGs, the Foundations for an Interesting Campaign Setting. I thought of like we could look at this because I see people might watch this to look for GM advice, but they get writing advice, and it would lead to creating a whole world that the players don't give a shit about.
Yes.
Well, let's see. It might be that. I don't think we are the target audience for this type of content.
Yes.
But
That's why I'm
is
not
good
even
to-
sure if it makes sense to watch it and review it, because we are not the target audience. So
Speak for yourselves. I have a world building document, okay, that takes up a large amount of space on my computer.
Oh,
I'm
so
not sure if
I
you like
just-
show
I
it
don't-
or not.
I know better. I know better than to cross the streams, okay?
I
You
see.
think world building TTRPGs they go together, right? No, they do
They
not go
don't.
together. They do not go together. I do not mix them. They are separate.
Still, Chubby Funster, from what I remember, makes some very high quality videos, even if you're not
He
really
does.
intended for us. Let's just watch this and see if give a 4D perspective on it, I suppose.
Okay, let's give it like 2 minutes and see what we have to say.
I consistently criticize content for bad writing in my videos, and some people respond with, well, that's just your opinion. And I guess in some ways it is. But what I want to illuminate in this video is the process by which I think you get good writing as your final output. Unfortunately, we have to start out with a negative example first, so let's talk about what makes it bad. The Village of Krezhik in Curse of Strahd is badly written. I don't mean that it has grammar errors or spelling mistakes. It's just a bad location for a role-playing game. The very first paragraph describes it as self-sufficient in every way except needing a wine delivery. The guards won't let you in without the wine, so unless you resolve a 5th level adventure to get the wine, you can't go here. And if you resolve that adventure and don't send the wine here, you'll never go here. But that's okay because nothing matters. Once you get in, there's no exports, there's no businesses, just nameless people living off vegetables, chickens, and pigs. There's only 2 named NPCs in the village, and their defining feature is that they are sad. The only reason to even visit this place is to bring Irina to this magical pool so you can liberate her soul so she can be with Sergei and away from Strahd. Or you want to enter this abbey, which is a dungeon full of mongrel folk you aren't even supposed to fight, controlled by an angel in disguise who's training a flesh golem to serve as a bride for Strahd. It's really weird, and there's no explanation of how it would even work if Strahd would go along with the plan, and so on. So how do you get these locations that...
So the interesting thing there is that, can't you say this about every module? I think this is a criticism of modules more so than this specific instance of it. Because surely every module and every location you would find within the module is a nexus of things to do, right? And I'm sure that the design of this one is very restrictive. But you can't just do away with any amount of restriction if you just play a game that is not using a module, right? And this is in the context of me and Zontwire. We did play through a Pathfinder module called The Dragon's Demand, something like that.
The Dragon's Demand, yes.
Yeah, instead of Tyler running it like a module, he ran it as a setting. And I think that is such a better way to do it. And it's very interesting to hear Tyler talking about how we did things out of order. But we didn't do things out of order because that's what our characters did. There is no order. A module speaks as if there is one continuous railroad that you're supposed to go through, right?
Yes.
And this is what we're seeing here. This is what he's commenting on. And I just say, just do away with modules? I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, the whole module exists to explore the curse of Strahd, of like the culture, the people, the constant drama with the fucking vampire, of like stay under his radar, but also do all of these quests for people. Also, he knows everything and everyone and has ravens and bullshit, bats, whatever. But he doesn't bother killing you and all of that, you know. Constant contradictions everywhere.
I feel like I already see what Chubby Funster is the point he's going to make. What I would do to fix this village is I would write less. I would write way less.
Yes. Because here's the thing. A village where the people are self-sufficient is not boring. That's cool. That's where you'll meet like the crazy witch character in the woods. And then they're like, people bring her like radishes so that she cures poison, you know?
I would, if I was writing this adventure for someone else to run it in their game, I would say, you know, like it's a self-sufficient village. Here's the general attitude of the villagers. And here's a few cool NPCs. I'd call it there.
Yeah.
Because that's all you need.
And it's also the perspective he talks about this is clearly as a writer and as a module writer. Oh, this is lame for a module. This is lame as a writing choice. Because the players have like weird things to do that feel disconnected and doesn't make this village come alive. That's the main criticism of like, when I go there, I don't feel like those are real people. The descriptions are, oh, they're sad, boo-hoo. Yeah, that is a terrible description for villagers. Like how said, you need, if you write a module, if the goal is to give advice for how to make a better module, I think Chubby goes into great detail to make things more elaborate. But he does the opposite to what you're saying, Pancake. Not write less, but like add a lot more context to everything.
This is something that's particularly interesting for me because I did basically write a little module for Trenchpunk when I wrote the Trenchpunk article for the mixtape game. And
right.
I did write like a little module, like it's like 3 or 4 pages or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's amateurish, right? Because it is my first time writing a module for it. But in that, I tried to focus on the characters, right? And what each character wanted, and I try to focus on the setting, not what happens. So it's not like you do this, you go here and you do that. No, like this is a place, these characters in this place want X, Y, or Z. And I just leave it at that. The players will determine what happens after that, you know? I think that writing a module as a setting works better.
Yes.
I don't know if I did a good job.
I can't speak on it. I haven't read it because I've been wanting. I want to play in Trenchpunk, which I have done now. But I was wanting to play in Trenchpunk, so I was like, I don't want to read the module because
I see.
I don't know I don't want to know what's coming. But in the 40 mixtape, we have the Feudal Gauntlet, and I ran one of these adventures for one person in the Discord, and I gotta say, I love these adventures. They're very straightforward. Okay. It gives you the premise, some of the setting, characters, and pushes, and that's it. Right? For instance, Too Young to Rule is the adventure I did. The Lord left for the Duke's court, leaving behind their young heir to rule in his absence. And then it goes into a little more detail than that, but it's literally just 2 paragraphs, right? That's the description of the adventure.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right? And then it gives you a list of people. There's the caretaker, the advisor, the allied nobleman, right? And it's a short description. And then it gives you a few pushes, potential pushes. You know, a local maid has lost 3 chickens to a dog attack. And because you're kind of in charge of the castle now, you have to deal with all the locals' dumb bull crap. Yeah.
That's so cool because you can already start imagining in your head how that game would go. You know, you can give it your own spin.
Yeah, it gives that adventure has so much flavor in it that I think pretty much everyone who runs that adventure will have a completely different experience, but the exact same tone, right? Which I think is exactly what you want to go for.
All right, want to hear more from Chubby?
Sorry, I kind of went on a tangent, but
no, I like
you could
it.
assume what his point would be as well. So
yeah, we can like finish his like what is bad writing to see.
Yeah, let's see.
To see like if we agree or disagree.
That just don't make any sense, where there's nothing to do and the NPCs have no real meaning or purpose. They're created when you fail to have any social context that would serve as a connective fabric across the setting. This isn't a monastery where people send their more intelligent or unruly children, or their nobles that are 3rd or 4th in line to inherit. The NPCs here don't have a shared culture with other towns, they don't trade with them, they don't intermarry, they ultimately don't matter. No one cares what even happens to this place. Being visually impressive means little if the ideas and content behind those visuals don't even make sense. The writing is bad and there aren't enough interaction points and there's nothing to do. The GM has to struggle to make the world seem real. Remember, it's an imaginary place, but you want to pretend like people actually live here and not just stand in line waiting for the players to arrive and help them do things. This isn't a video game. I'm going to lay out a framework for getting better results in this video, but first I wanted to let you know that I recently turned on channel memberships. Please check that out if you are interested.
I think the critique is largely correct.
Like not having enough interaction points and the world doesn't feel real because it's the way of it's set out in the module.
Yeah.
Which means,
the way it's set out is they're all awaiting the players.
You buy a module book, you hope the module book gives you a world to live in that you can lay out for the players to experience. This is the purpose. But if you have to do all of the heavy lifting to make the towns and characters feel real and make sense, the module failed. What do you think about this as a premise?
I don't think it's as simple as you put it, because what extent, right? Because I can tell you right now, if I have a game where I'm reading the book and the book tells me this like peasant house is vassals to this lord, and then like it repeats for every like family, that's unreadable, right?
Mm-hmm.
there is an extent to which you don't want that much information and tying it to the whole world.
Yes.
And I would argue that this is a subjective thing, because some people would
Right.
prefer to just read the brief overview of the village, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, I'm sure that it could have been done better in Curse of Strahd, but I think the design principle there is not as self-evident as it might appear. Because sometimes you can't just read a book like, oh, this is a small, self-sufficient village that belongs to this land and is lorded over by this manor house. And here's a few NPCs. There's a witch, there's a cleric, and there we go. If you have just that, it also gives the GM the ability to create his own stories in that little village, you know? And it is cool to have like a little village in the corner that might not be special to anyone. But when you played the game, like, oh, my character owns a house in that village, you know? Like, he liked the people there, he married one of the locals. I don't know. I don't think the design philosophy is that self-evident. But I in this particular context, I believe that it probably could be done better in Curse of Strahd, you know? Like, where it might have been too simplistic.
A lot of the things he brought up were like plot beats connected to the village that only happen when the players do like specific things, right? And the village doesn't do anything until those plot beats happen. I think
the village is irrelevant unless for story purpose, in which case you go to that place.
And
that was Chubby Funster's biggest critique, I think.
And I fiercely reject that. I fiercely reject the notion that the only point to the stage of the role-playing game is where it intersects with the story being told. Because first, I don't believe there should be a story being told, right? So there's already that big point.
But that's also like in contradiction to the goal of a module, of why they are being written and being sold. So
but here's the thing. I think that to a certain extent, by Chubby's own metrics, my way is more believable. Because remember, he said that it should feel like a real place that's lived in and where people live in, right?
Yes.
Wouldn't it be more lived in if you just roleplay it instead of like having to read about how this connects to several different subquests, you know?
Yes.
That's the whole thing. So it's the rest of his video that will go into how to make different social classes interconnect in Barovia, that would explain the cultures and how they would behave and what they would have. And they're pretty like broad, but enough information for you to create multiple different characters within that culture that would make have an internal logic in them and allows you to roleplay interesting scenes and interactions.
See,
which is
the issue is that's so much effort.
It is, but he is the writer. He does the writing stuff. This guy gets away with it. As a game master, no way.
As a game master, that's a nightmare. Because look, we can do all that, or we can look at the important bit, and the important bit is, what do these people think about those people right now, and leave it at that, and then figure it out in play. And with co-creation, now it's not all on you. And so
that's a big one. That's a big one.
If a player wants to figure out the history of one of these groups, you know, now it's not all on the GM. Like the player can co-create the history of this group that they were interested in, because they know, hey, the GM doesn't know.
And that is so much more fun for the GM as well. If you are a GM, it is way more fun to explore your world rather than writing out an encyclopedia of your world.
Yes.
Would you rather like explore a jungle or sit there and write every single little detail about the jungle? It's much cooler to explore it.
I don't want to paint every single leaf of the jungle.
Exactly. This is why I reject the notion that the place only matters if it's tied to a quest, because that's something that you write. I believe that even just the broad like stroke of a painting of like in a like a self-sufficient village in a shadowy country ruled by a vampire, that's cool. That's not like it's not boring. Just role play out what would happen. I mean, I'm thinking like there probably would be like a crazy old man that begs on the street, you know? Like, he's out there like begging. Like there's so much cool ideas that can come to your mind in the moment. It doesn't need to be pre-written all the time.
And there are multiple villages too, so you can figure out of what makes this village different to all the other ones. Are they all the same? Do they have differences? Is it influenced by the distance to the castle itself? Are the hills like making it out of sight, so the village is not in direct line of sight of the towers from the castle? All those small details that don't look like they matter much can give you an imagination of how fearful the villagers would act about the fact that Strahd is terrorizing the lands. Or like if they have the ability of some autonomy.
And you can be the best writer in all of the land, the best designer, the best writer. You will never be able to fully write it. You will never be able, short of recreating the whole thing, you will never be able to write the every detail that Zolar mentioned, right? Yes. Can you see the village? Can you see like the village from the castle's tower, right? Oh, I didn't think of that. And then the player will ask another question, and then you won't think of an answer for that either. And in the end, you'll just be making it up on the spot. So why don't you take that one step further and paint a broad stroke and add to it during play, you know?
And allow the other players to add information through play. By like allowing yourself to wrest control away a little bit of let co-creation happen. Be like, all right, I don't need to have this stranglehold. It's not really helping me to have this stranglehold. And having 4 brains thinking about this world will make it a lot bigger than if you do it all by yourself.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, Rocketeer is going off in chat, and he's so right.
Fantastic. Let's look at them. People are really good at taking vague information and making it concrete. They're really bad at memorizing very specific and interconnected information quickly.
Yeah, right? Like, isn't it cooler to you know, come up with something on the spot than to say, oh yeah, this is the village of Belheim, and it exports glass to the castle, and it exports grain to this other village, and it exports... No, who cares, bro? It's, you know, it's not that deep. Like, you will get the feel of the place when you go there, you know? Even in real life.
The village of Belheim, you describe the wheat farms surrounding the villages.
Yeah.
You know?
I was about to say, in real life, if you go to like the Austria or whatever, and you find like a little like vineyard village in the countryside, you will immediately know, because the people will take pride in the wine they make. You will see the vineyards, you know?
You will see the glass kilns like burning up, billowing up as the glass is being made, like some glass blowers twisting the large metal poles, blowing into it as they make wobbles and stuff.
All the locals will have like coal dust in their fingers from blowing glass all day.
Yeah.
No, like you can start... See, this is exactly what he meant, right? You can make a vague idea concrete in your mind. And it's much cooler to do that than to write down like all of the trade connections that a town has.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the second comment, setting up... go ahead.
I do want to say, the other thing is when you do it in the moment, you're actually more connected to the world. And so I think your world building actually makes more sense in the smaller scale, right? It makes more sense because you're more grounded, right? You're in the moment.
Yes.
You're seeing it as it should be from the ground view and not from your world builder's chair at the top of Mount Olympus, right?
The world builder's ivory tower.
Yes.
It's where Alexander McCree sits for his Adventure Conqueror King games.
That's a very good point, Pancake, because it is much easier to create something that is in the context of the game when you're playing the game and not like a week before writing everything down. You know?
Yes. Right. Setting up a tabletop role-playing game as a set and specific plot is counterintuitive to playing a character with specific motivations and ways of thinking. The spotlight should be on how the characters make their way. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, if I'm playing my elf, that it was like he was banished from the Elven Enclave for being a coward. If I'm playing my elf, like, do I really care about like the dragon threat? You know, like in like this foreign land. You know,
That was a
I think
big
that there
point
is-
of the Lich's Tracks, by the way, because I had the barbarian villages in the forest. I had the elves, the elven grove, which did not come up, and I had the human kingdom, that the one that is bordering the borderlands. And between the human kingdom and the orc villagers were the bandit camp, like the bandit king and his horde. And you had contact with like a couple bandits, like hunting and trapping, and contact with the barbarians. And I wanted to escalate with that the world doesn't care that you exist. The neighboring kingdom will overrun the bandits' castle, like broken down castle, take it back. And by doing that, will slowly come into contact with the orc village as the next point of like, oh, the orcs are here. We will attack them. And I had all of that in my head as a thing that will happen in like 2 weeks. It never came
because
up.
you're thinking of the world as real instead of thinking of it as a set for the players to have an adventure in. You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that is so much cooler, in my opinion.
I have no fucking idea what the elves are up to. They live here. You know, it's like I can.
Well, and it probably
I can
doesn't
sing
matter.
sometime. Yeah.
It probably doesn't matter, right?
There was one elf there, and she was the druid doing the witchcraft, leading some barbarians, the old and the young, out of the village as he burned it all down. Tried to kill them all. It's like, yeah, they would have a connection. You know, they both live in the same forest. There's like some connection going on. What is to it? I don't fucking know. You guys need to find out.
This is why it's better to come up with it on the spot than to write it down like a week earlier. Because when you get there to the village, the players could care about like the local beautiful woman, or they could care about setting up a trade caravan, or they could care about the witch in the woods. You know, when the players go there, they will want to do something, and then you build that. You shouldn't have to write, I'm going to write about the trade routes. I'm going to write about the witch in the woods. I'm going to write about the beautiful woman and her suitors. I'm going to write about the dog. I'm going to write about the wolf problem. I'm going to write about the kobolds. No, oh my God.
Yeah.
My brother.
The players tell you what matters with their attention.
With their actions
it's like
as well, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like helicopter parenting. Like the mom's like, okay, son, you're going to have football on Saturday. And, you know, let the players live their life, man.
Exactly. Rocketeer's third comment. Your immediate and unfiltered ideas and intuitions are almost always going to be more in line with ensuring verisimilitude. Trust your own ideas and let others contribute as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It's like Nicholas here, unrequested info. Yes, like you don't need unrequested info. Gotta hit the GM if they didn't ask.
Yeah.
Don't care, didn't ask.
Yeah. The verisimilitude of your world is a gut feeling, right? So trust your freaking gut.
Yeah.
You know? Trust your gut. It knows what it's doing.
It's tough to quantify what your gut has to say, right? It's not really something we can measure.
The way you do it is you put yourself in the situation to where you can't think about it, and you just say what's there.
Is this something you can practice? Would be like my next logical step for especially since game masters, they are already worried of entertaining 4 people, which is like a whole other fucking issue. But still, they decided to run something. And they don't want to disappoint, which is a reasonable fear. It's reasonable expectations. You want to give the players something cool to do, or at least create surroundings where something cool can be done. You know,
I'm gonna say
I would
yes.
say
this is
there is practice.
Yes. And this practice is living, right? Like, if you want to role play like a sleepy town in Midwest America, go to a sleepy town in Midwest America, or like watch a movie about it. You know,
That
like if
is
you're gonna
exactly
role
what
play
I was going to
camping,
say.
go camping, man.
Yeah. If you want to be able to improvise, well, in a session, read books, watch movies, play games, right? These things they will feed your imagination, and then it will just come out when you need it.
Experience,
And then,
in the sense of the word. Experience. Not just like, oh, I have so much experience, but go out and experience the world.
yes,
The same thing with reading books and absorbing media, watching movies. That's also an experience. It's just not you directly
You-
in that. It's like through another medium.
Mhm.
But yeah,
You want to know how to role play a cool character? Just go talk to someone.
yeah.
Because they're probably a pretty cool
Yeah,
character.
be cool. Be a cool guy, man. It's that
So-
simple.
Ask people about how they're doing and let them talk.
Mm.
Most people want to talk. They will tell you literally everything if you just stick around for long enough, you know.
Yeah, if you're curious.
More Rocketeer comments. I'm gonna highlight it. I've been in too many games where the GM pulls their punches or makes an NPC do something out of character so that someone doesn't die. Something isn't so bad. Let there be consequences. The players yearn for death. They crave it. Just kill them already.
We do, yeah.
Yes. Yes, it is the ultimate end.
I have the meme somewhere. I cannot show it on stream. But your character will die and you'll be happy.
I know what you mean, yeah.
With the smile.
There is a certain appreciation of knowing that is what would have happened that you get, you know, because even if the GM is like the nicest guy ever and he cheats you from death, you get like this feeling in the back of your mind, like this nagging feeling. Damn, that's not what would have happened. I would have died there. And then it becomes hollow. As soon as that moment hits you, the whole facade falls down and the game just feels fake.
And the character becomes like a white in your mind. It's just this walking corpse, and you're like, I can't play this anymore.
Yes.
And you could just die and go role play another cool character. It's gonna be probably even cooler in the long run, you know.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I am out of gas. It's been 4 hours.
Yes.
I went
4 hours.
enough. Yes.
Oh my lord. Okay.
just about. But yes, we did hit 4 hours. I'm exhausted. It's 4 a.m. for me. So I'm definitely ready to hit the sack.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Zonolar. It's been a very fun stream.
It was really fantastic. Cool. Did you guys want to have any last words or something you wish to advertise or share with the class? Because like, if somebody sticks around for 4 hours, you know, you can tell them. Now it's a lot.
Join the Discord. Join the 4D Discord.
Yes.
That's where
join the 4D Discord. I will run a game for you.
Link in the description, guys.
Yes.
And with that, I'll hang up. Table Runner Crispy just started his live stream. So if you ended this and you joined the Discord, then you are allowed to check out Table Runner Crispy on YouTube and watch his live stream. Or the WAD, if you see this later.
Yeah. I loved this format, Zonolar. When we get like another good like hail of questions and videos and swap outs, maybe we could do another one. It'd be so fun.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Even if I'm not there, if you do it with someone else, I just think it's a very good format. Yeah, I won't hold you back any longer.
Let me end the stream. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for showing up.